Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
Experience.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
Good day.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernon's. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, Kamar, do you have any new patrons to go over?
Believe it or not, I do. Thank you for tuning in. Happy New Year. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Let's start this year off right with actually this. You'll be very interested to know that these Patreons are actually our first patrons of the year, but they became patrons last year.
Yeah.
Which would bring the total up to 10 Patreons in the month of December. Give it up for Rick Black.
Oh, well, these ones deserve the biggest shout out because they came through under the gun
That
to get
happened?
you
And
pierced.
Rob Mendez.
Really, Rob Mendez. And
Way to
what was the
hide
first name?
the lead.
Rick Black and Rob Mendez. Big shout outs to you.
Wow.
To all of you that joined in
Yes,
December.
thank you. This
I
is going to
meant
be
to
great.
get it done, but I was just too busy this
What do you
week.
mean, get what done?
The
My ear
piercing.
pierced.
No, why do you think it's your ear?
Because that's what I said initially.
No,
you guys, we talked about if more
we
people
spoke
join.
on navels.
No, we did agree that should more than 10 people join, then we would
Oh, I
spin the
see.
wheel to
Okay,
decide the next piercing.
Fine. Well, you need to get your ears pierced, Kamar.
But it didn't. I know I do. Because I said I would, and I love you, Patreon. But
Or you
also
gotta
we have
do
a
the
shout
right-
to.
It's got to be the right side too so the camera can see it when you get it pierced.
He's getting both.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it said, hey,
He's getting both.
we got stuff to talk about.
100%.
There's also a shout to Esteban Badia,
Oh, Esteban Badia.
Esteban.
That's our boy.
back in our house, home.
From the beginning.
No, that's a different guy. This guy, he's the one who's whatever. I don't want to blow up his spot.
people's
Yeah.
spots.
Thank you so much to all the patrons, past and present, joined for the post show, the moon debate. I don't know. I think it's almost at 300 hours of content.
We should definitely do another moon debate, eh?
A moon agreement?
Yeah. A moon consensus.
A moon consensus.
Yeah, we've revisited this and we all agree.
Yeah, thank you to all the new Patreons.
Yes, thank you. This is going to be great. I can't wait.
So Kamar, how was your week? I cannot believe you took that as well as you did.
He fell asleep. Did you hear that part of it? That's
No,
why
that-
he couldn't get a cash out.
No, they never would have offered him a cash.
figured- Yeah.
But he doesn't know that because he fell
But that's
asleep.
what he said, and that's what we said.
No, I
It would
know
have been
for a
worse
fact.
for me to have to witness that with my own eyes. That's like watching someone skin you alive. For
Or
the
they
listeners,
offer you 11 grand and you just
No.
snored your way through it. Don't you know me, Matt?
They never had the lead.
This guy's new to sports betting. Fuck, he doesn't know shit. For the listeners, Kamar had a 12-leg parlay for $10 last Sunday, and he missed by one. Fucking Tampa Bay.
I know you guys love to hear about it, but it was crazy. So I went around that. I circumvented that disappointment by going to the casino and losing $400.
Which is way more real.
Did you know at the casino there's a section where you can smoke and play slot machines?
Shut up, really?
Yes,
No,
there
there's
is.
not.
When?
Yes, there is. It's this craziest place in the world since last night when I went there. No, it's Thursday.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. The slot machines are outside in this fenced off area, and they have heaters like a fucking hockey rink.
That's amazing.
And you can suck back butts and just slam the fucking one-arm bandit.
So it's outside. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
but it's been unusually mild because I saw a sign. I was like, oh, they've classed up with a smoking section. I expect to go there and I'd get a smoking jacket, offered a cognac or something, but it was that. But my roommate lost $9,000, and that.
Yeah, but he's a gambler. It's a wash.
But still, like I couldn't lament my for. I couldn't be like, oh,
Yeah,
gee. I had to be like, hey, it's just money. Hey, we're just having a great time. So needless to say, I won't be going back to the casino anytime soon.
He lost $9,000 in a night. Holy fuck. But I mean, he wins big all the time.
Exactly. But that erased all the angst from that. And now we're back here again, man. Ready to go. Ready
Still
to take
not
on this
rich.
new year. I fasted for 3 days.
How was that?
It was great, actually. It was
Yeah.
a lot easier than I thought. And now I'm only eating meat. Carnivore, actually, protein diet. But I won't be that guy.
No, you're going to be that guy, 100%.
Oh, I can't believe he's not talking. That was the first thing that came out of his mouth today.
It would have been, but I cut him off at the pass.
But we did find out last week that it's all meat. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be red meat. It's
can
chicken,
just-
turkey,
really?
sausage,
Eggs.
whatever,
That's a game changer.
whatever he wants.
Did you say eggs?
Yep.
Protein. It's all.
Okay. Whatever floats your boat there, pal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel great. Well, it's not that I feel great. I just don't feel different ever.
So no, you have the mental clarity of the carnivore diet
Starting.
starting. You're using the what are those?
This is the first one I've had in a week.
No. The Zon.
Oh, yes.
the Zyn,
This could be interesting.
the Zyn.
I don't want to pack one right away because I don't know how.
So you didn't smoke a cigarette out there?
No,
Oh, you're not smoking right now.
I don't have to.
You can't smoke and take these things.
Could, but you'd feel
God.
Oh,
you feel like you had
Like
the
a
cigarette,
pack of smokes.
a pack in.
oh. So this is to help
You'd
you
throw
quit
up.
smoking.
You'd throw up. It's
Oh,
an
I
assistant.
didn't realize. Okay, good to know.
Well, you're going to get hooked on those, though.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, this will help you quit smoking, too.
You won't be able to get hooked on both of them, though.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
It'll
not
make
like
you-
the
it'll make
vape where you can do both. You know.
I mean, the advantage is your lungs, right?
Yeah.
Because
That's the only thing I'm thinking. I'm not even thinking about down the road, sucking dick for Xanax. But you have to have them. If you run out of these, you're going to go back to cigarettes unless you wean yourself off them as well. I think.
Interesting. I didn't realize you were using it as a smoking deterrent.
You can't smoke. You'll feel so sick if you try to do this and smoke.
So I don't know.
you don't realize though, Simon smokes 4 cigarettes at
I'll
once. at home.
forego my week just to talk about this. Okay.
Okay.
This whole Zyn thing.
Yeah. Oh, here it is.
So
That
I
was
don't
my
know
week.
if you've noticed, but all these, I watched this video on this. I'm like, oh my God, this is so true. All these podcasters have been talking about it like crazy, but not in ads.
Placed.
They've been like, we're
Forcing
using
it on
and
academics.
Yeah, and and then the way when you look back on that now, and he got so mad when he said it was addictive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's because
That's
ad.
part of his thing. And then you look at Bert Kreischer talking to the Nelk boys about it. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's an ad too.
So weird. But the rules, the laws of you have to disclose that. And it's not like a vague thing. The viewer has to know that you are advertising for that company, even if you aren't advertising for them, but you work for them or they've given you something for free, or you have to disclose all that. Anyways, there's
how do
some
you know there's
really fishy shit going on right now
But
with
how do
this
you-
whole Zyn and what's his name there?
It could be different in the States.
What's his name from CNN? Not CNN, Fox News. Weird laugh. Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
He has said Zyn.
Dude, he talks about Zyn on, I don't remember what podcast it was. It's crazy. It like for 25 minutes.
My only thing is it is Imperial Tobacco. Like it is big tobacco. It's not
course
some
it is.
new player coming in. So
Because Big Tobacco's plan has always been to find the
Yeah, the next
thing
thing.
that's not smoking.
green cigarettes.
Green cigarettes. Anyways, there's some fucking shady ass shit going on right now.
Or is it a story old as time?
No, this is weird. This is odd. And then it makes me like,
It's odd that you're onto it.
no, it's odd that, yeah, I guess. I don't know. It just makes it all so suspect. This was supposed to be like the truth place. You know what I mean? And it's just become
Podcasting, you mean, was
Yeah.
supposed to be the truth place?
But for me, it was when I said these, and Mary was like, "Yeah, I saw those everywhere."
yeah.
That's like an anecdotal but true story that's actually real data.
Well, no, it sounded like somebody opened up a pack and they fell on the floor and then didn't want to put them in their mouth.
Who's Brian Callen here, eh? I love how two people can see one thing.
Who's Brian?
That's Kamar. Think about it. It wasn't just a bunch of people throwing the Zin on the floor after they had used them in a tiny little bar.
I think people are that disrespectful.
Okay, I disagree. They found a bunch of them on the floor. Like, isn't it more likely that somebody just dropped them?
I'm sure this place has been cleaned up. It's no longer.
And you're making it seem like everybody in the bar was using them. Maybe it was one person who dropped one package.
It's a contaminated crime scene, so I can't.
We'll
comment.
never know. We'll never know.
Exactly.
Anyways, that was my week.
The Zin invasion. Zinvasion.
I'm rewatching Mad Men right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
you must be smoking a lot of cigarettes.
So good that
Oh,
show.
yeah.
No, it's too cold to smoke cigarettes.
It's not too cold to Zin.
You don't have a studio?
It's not too cold to.
You know,
I
have a
watched
studio?
Running Man.
I need to
Set it up.
renovate it.
Because I was going to say, that's your smoking space. That's your safe space.
Yeah, but I don't even know if I would smoke. Smoking inside places is bad news.
Unbelievable how when I was in my 20s, I would smoke at people's houses. Like, without question, apartments and indoors. Like,
Well, yeah, in the 80s, people did
I
that.
can't
yeah.
believe it.
Everywhere you would go.
And how many places were trashed just because of the pollution. Anyways, how was your week, Matt?
Uneventful.
Good.
Well, no, I don't know. I've been just trying to stay busy. I painted a bunch of fucking doors. Tried to get a bunch of stuff here done. That's about it. Trying to stay busy in 2024. You want to go over the guest list, Kamar, so we can do what we do here?
Starting off the new year. Oh, by the way, I don't know why it says post Joe. Did you see Joe just posted a picture of himself fishing in the Bahamas?
I saw that, yeah.
So nothing we've devoted a life to pursue right now is even real. Who knows when these were done? But it started off with 2081 Tony Hinchcliffe, followed by Canadian looking for some dick. 2082 Dr. Deborah So from Toronto.
I'm glad that we were on the same fucking page. They fucked,
she
right?
put it out there.
But I mean, like, her and Joe fucked, right?
It could be. And finish off with a really interesting get, 2083, Taylor Sheridan for a big agree-a-thon.
You want to rate the week?
I had a lot of problems with this week. I think I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2. That's all I can give this week.
Yeah, I think I like the 2. I like 2. It's a tough way to start the year, but I'm going to give it a 2.
I will give it a.
You know what? I'll go 2.5.
2.5. That's what I was thinking. Too.
Yeah. 2 seems a bit aggressive.
You think you have a chance with Deborah?
No.
Fucking idiot.
All right, come on, let's fire it up.
Yeah, okay. We're going to start off with the meat potatoes of the week. 2083 Taylor Sheridan.
Your wet dream.
You know what the thing is, though? If I don't know if someone asked me, but I was talking about listening to it. Said, did they disagree about anything?
No, never. Oh, no, never.
Do you think that's the only thing we have going for us? That sometimes we disagree with each other. It's a different conversation. The way it goes, like it's confirmation bias. It's just a weird thing. Did you guys watch Lonesome Dove?
No.
Because I watched
The
Lonesome
TV show?
Yes.
Why, that was Taylor Sheridan?
No,
Is that his name?
Yes, that was his inspiration.
Okay. Yeah, I used to watch Lonesome Dove.
It was the best.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was so real. It was such like as if this was on TV because it opened the door to how you could do more in a 10-part series or 7-part series than you can in a 3-hour movie. You just drag people. I mean, everyone was in that. And people you like died, and I was young, but it was very impactful.
I mean, isn't it just a watered down Deadwood? His show.
They're all Lonesome Dove. Actually, it's all. Did you ever watch the Civil War documentary? It was the most boring thing in the world.
No.
It was like 25 hours, but it was so comprehensive about how it actually was back then that you just have like Joe says, 100 people ago
What show did you?
Deadwood.
No, but
HBO?
what show of Taylor Sheridan?
The Yellowstone.
No,
Like in a way, yeah. Well, okay, not Yellowstone. Sorry, but any of
the
the
older
spin-offs,
ones,
like
It's the place and the time.
Like, it was funny to me that he was like, yeah, the critics hate my show. And I was like, well, listen, your show is like, it has all the right ingredients to get people hooked, but it's not it's not a good show.
that's Yellowstone. I think he's aware that Yellowstone is just like
Okay.
garbage.
Well-
but the other one that they were talking about,
Well, he has
with-
two. He has 18,
one of
whatever,
them
and
wasn't very
1923.
good.
Yeah.
But the one that Joe likes was pretty good with what's his name?
1883.
the older one.
1883, which
Yeah.
is the sort of the time period
Yeah.
that you say that
That's
wasn't
all with
that
Faith
long
Hill and
ago.
Tim McGraw.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was
100
140
plus
years.
years. I know, but even 200 years, like when you're thinking about like the Egyptians, which was 5,000 years ago, 200 years is nothing, you know?
Yeah, when you use the entire history of the universe, nothing is that long. But if you think about it in terms of, like, it's weird when Joe's like, that's 3 people ago. Like, yeah, well, that's actually a long time ago.
But I
You're going to
think-
live.
But is it like a lot of people know their great grandmother? Just add another person onto that, and that's the fucking Old West? That seems insane.
Yeah.
When you think of the Old West, to me, anyways, that's like so long ago that there's no relation to me at all.
Do you
know?
feel okay? That's it.
But
Do
there
you
is
feel
no
like you have a
relation here.
relationship.
No, I know. In time,
You could have a conversation with that person.
No.
It'd almost be like unintelligible, even though you spoke the Lord's English or whatever. They'd be what you imagine. And any
depends
character
what
from
you're talking about, I
Unforgiven,
guess.
Lonesome Dove, 1883, that time period, Billy the Kid, Young Guns. It's just we have a love
Young Guns.
affair with cowboy movies because it just seems like you can imagine yourself being there. It's not that far ago. Something on that. Like, and Napoleon was 1808. So that's not even that long ago. That it was even crazier. I was going to bring this up. Do
Even crazy.
you know how old Harvard is?
he's probably like 130 years old.
Yeah, it's 400 years old.
It's
Or
400 years old.
387. How does that work? We'll talk about it in
Yeah,
Deborah's
how
show.
does that work?
We'll talk about it in Deborah's.
So Taylor Sheridan had a story to tell. His background is he failed out of 3 colleges and then started writing movies. So I mean, he sort of skipped over whatever he was, but I think he was just a kid that grew up wanting to be an actor. Good looking guy. Let's not threw shade on Forrest Gump. We all would think that was a good story before he talked about it. Was it that good? I still think it was cool.
It is good. It's a great movie. Why do you have to dissect Forrest Gump? You know what I mean? It's not,
He threw the shade.
it wasn't a political statement. It was just a fun fucking romp.
yeah.
I don't know. To me, it seemed unnecessary, but
I wish they had made the sequel. The second book is insane.
the second Forrest Gump, but doesn't he like go to the moon or something?
Yeah, there's a bunch of crazy shit.
You read the second book?
No, I've read the synopsis of it. It's fucking batshit crazy.
Sounds good. Too good to
Well,
be
I
true.
just wish they had.
Yeah,
Clearly,
maybe
the
it-
story is not done. Anyway,
I do wonder sometimes when Joe says that they'll never be able to do the comedy movie again. Like the sensibility's gone that far. Or
I still buy that.
it's interesting, like the right wing, whatever the Daily Mail or whatever is trying to, like doing super crazy woke movies or whatever to make fun of it. And that none of them are really hit. But I don't think there's anything in politically correct in, like, say, Pootie Tang, which still may be the funniest movie I have ever seen the first time I saw it.
You don't think there's anything politically incorrect in Pootie Tang?
I don't, in my memory, I said, they could never do a Pootie Tang today.
Didn't Louis C.K. write that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe there was a whole bunch of crazy stuff and I was just 60 years old and just thought it was the funniest thing ever or whatever.
I mean, it's weird that, like, and I'm sure they still make them on a very low budget scale, and they probably just get put out on like Netflix or Amazon Prime. But like the spoof,
Parody.
yeah, that was always kind of like you know what I mean? Like every couple of years, there was a spoof that kind of blanketed every movie.
Well,
whether-
I think we've had this discussion before, but it was Scream did it perfectly.
You're saying Scream was the perfect spoof?
Scream, the first Scream, which got parodied, but it was like, this is a horror movie. Like, yes, we're doing the babysitter again, but just enough of a twist or whatever.
Well, its original name was Scary Movie,
which is what the
spoof and the
Spoof
spinoff
is.
ended up.
Typical scary movie.
Yeah.
Here you go. Nope.
Scream was incredible when it came out.
Scary Movie would have been a good name for Scream, but it's too like
It makes it seem like a comedy.
well, that it, like Kamar was saying, it pokes fun at
Yeah.
those movies. I just don't think people would have got it. I think it's
I mean, Scream was still a really good like whodunit. Like the first time you saw it, you
Yeah.
had no fucking, you know what I mean?
yeah, that it was going to be the two guys working together.
Oh, Simon. No.
Spoiler alert.
Taylor said some tough guy stuff when he said that society is suffering from privilege.
Sure.
Like, it's too good here, and that's why we have to argue about certain things. And
I love that someone that puts this stuff out on a streaming service is like, we've got it too easy here. Like, okay, well then why didn't you fucking shoot it on film and release it in the theaters and make us go do the work, Taylor?
well, it sounds like he said he's coming out with a real pro-oil miniseries.
No, not pro oil.
Well, I doubt he.
Oh, I see. Because he's against the electric car. Gotcha.
Like he said, when he makes stuff, and I thought it was interesting, he and it speaks to debatable good endings or whatever, is how he just wants you to have questions. He's just going to show you a story, and you have to put together who you think is the worst person, whatever.
I love how Joe. I'm sorry, I don't.
Instead of telling you,
I love how Joe tells. I don't even remember what I was going to say.
of course, the Saints would ruin our day.
I told you, fuck.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Don't fucking worry about it.
No,
Oh.
Joe. Okay.
Phobia is an irrational fear. I thought that was interesting. Joe tells the story of Chappelle just showing up at places, and then when he tells the story, is actually he showed up and I asked him to go on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't him like doing it, and then he tells the story. Is the Comedy Mothership in the building with the cult?
Yeah.
No,
It is
it's
not. It is not. It is not.
It's not. And so this was one of the things I was going to.
Wait, you're saying that was the other building that was the cult
He
building?
almost bought the cult.
No. He almost bought the cult building. He didn't buy the cult building.
No, he did because it's where this is the building where the guy bought it so that he could perform in front of the cult.
This is not.
I'm
This
telling
is
you.
the old Sunset whatever. Anyways, but I do think it's interesting that Joe talks about that guy, how crazy it is that he built this place so he could dance in front of his cult member.
Yeah, you
That's
did that.
you, dude. Like, are you really that
Oblivious.
removed from yourself that you can't even see that?
Well, I'm not dancing. I'm telling jokes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I don't have a cult. I just have 45 people who follow me around and do everything I say. And then there was something else. Hold on. I just got to get to my notes here.
My point was that he brings up the cult. Like, I guess he may have bought that building, but he had to sell it. Or maybe he still owns it. Or maybe he actually is running a cult in that.
I think you're both wrong. I think this building is the one.
It's not. He keeps saying, I almost bought the cult building. Thank God I
But in
didn't.
this episode, he said, I put the comedy club in that building. He Joe Biden himself. It's quite, and I'm sure that's all it was, is a gaffe or whatever. But he tells that story more than he tells the story of the actual history of the building that's in, unless we're both wrong, and it could be. That's possible. Taylor Sheridan labeled the Comedy Mothership the Comedy Alamo, which is something interesting to think about.
The Comedy Alamo?
Because of the money it has supporting it, not nefarious.
Okay.
It can run forever, and it can be a place where you watch Kill Tony.
Yeah.
They're always doing politically incorrect jokes and like pushing the envelope stuff that wouldn't be on TV. It isn't even on TV. It could be a last bastion of free speech comedy, for better or worse. And that's the coolest thing.
I doubt that.
I mean,
You act like comedy's like actually under attack. It isn't.
in every conversation, people ask a comedian, "Do you still think you can do the same jokes?"
And they all can.
They all can, or they say, "No, I changed. We changed."
Or
We
they
used to say
choose
things."
not to because of YouTube. YouTube is really the deciding factor. That's why you don't see all the.
I disagree.
You disagree.
Yeah.
YouTube makes people self-center. I'm not saying
Censor.
that that's necessarily the worst thing in the world. That is a fact. Like
Yeah, but what does that have to do with comedians? Like, you can still go and perform every night and do your regular act without worrying about YouTube. Like, if Kamar goes on tonight, he's not like, got to censor myself for YouTube.
No, but
you
they
might have
make
to
a lot
censor
of
yourself
money
for the
on
audience.
YouTube.
Like, but again, I say whatever I want. I don't know about that.
Again, like, I just don't feel like, personally, I don't look at comedy like, oh, it's under attack. Comedians can't say what they want.
Well, none of these big guys have to worry about it, because if you're selling tickets to your shows, people are going to see you. They're not going to get angry that you're doing the jokes they know you're going to do.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, even Kamar, Kamar can do whatever joke he wants. What is the fear he has?
Just everyone will be offended and not think it's funny.
Well, yeah, you have to have something to lose to.
Yeah, but you just said the big guys are selling tickets.
Well, I'm just saying, Kamar. What
Do you
does
think
he care?
Do you
Yeah,
think
but that's my point. Most comedians are Kamar. So what do they
Well,
care?
I don't think they're talking about like. They're
even then,
talking
the
about
big
guys who are trying to make it in. Like, he's not.
Thanks,
He's,
Sam.
no, I'm
No, but
No,
you're
no,
not
I'm
a
sorry.
working comedian. You're not making your
part-time.
living doing comedy.
we all are? You are too right now.
You're not paying your bills with the comedy.
he pays some of them.
I do sometimes.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm not this guy. I'm not trying to equate, but it's just like I know what they're talking about when they're talking about what they're doing because I do it.
Who's they? Taylor Sheridan doesn't do stand-up comedy.
No, but
Yeah, and are you censoring yourself?
I don't think so. And I
you don't know.
I think you tell the difference between audiences when you go someplace else. It's like it's weird. Like when Kingston had a club, you could almost say N words, and
No, you could.
You could actually. Sorry, what I was, but you understand what I'm saying.
Well, I actually play. That's one of the few clubs I've played.
And I bet you in most of America, which is probably Trump country, everyone wants you to be like that. And I bet it's even easier in America than it is in Canada.
So now you're going against what you said,
What did I say?
that you're censored.
When did I say I was censored?
Comedians.
I think some comedians have to choose what they want to do to get what they want.
Listen, like I agree that you can self-censor. Like Kamar, like if you're like, I'm going to be a clean act because I want to get clean gigs.
Work on a cruise ship.
You can choose to do that, but I think like if you're a comedian who's out there pushing the boundaries by saying whatever the fuck you want, I think there's a place for that. I don't
If
think
you're a comedian who makes their living on YouTube, then
what comedian makes their living on YouTube?
I don't know. I assume there's a lot of them.
We're getting bogged down here.
So you're just making stuff up. This is what I'm saying.
No, what do you mean? Anybody who does a podcast, a comedy podcast, let's say.
Okay, but you would agree that doesn't that. Well, Kamar has a comedy podcast and he's a working comedian and he doesn't censor himself in the show.
I think I do. I don't try to say anything just to say I can say it.
No, but you're
Words. I
That's not
always
censoring
I almost
yourself.
feel gay when I say N word, but I have to do it that way because I'm self-censoring.
okay. That's one thing. I don't think. Also,
yeah, it's retarded.
also in life, I
Listen,
don't.
until he can freely say the N word, we're all self-censoring.
Take
I was-
the boot off my neck.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, no, I was also thinking. I was like, I've hung out with Kamar in real life and never heard him drop the N bomb. Does that mean that it's just bubbling up inside
No,
you?
I would sing it in a song, and I would say someone said something as I was telling a story.
Yeah, I will do that as
Which,
well.
by the way, telling a story of a story is a worse form of story.
Like telling someone else's story.
Yeah. When Joe tells stories about guys fighting a bear, like you were told it and now you're retelling it.
Yeah, gotcha.
But you now have emotion.
He was riding his back.
You can see spit flying out of the bear. It's just the weirdest story.
Were you there? No.
No, I put my hoodie on and left.
Yeah. That's what he would have done.
Very, very interesting when
What
they
bear?
talked about immigration and how the immigrants came here because they said there was free land, and they're like, "Come on, see you out there."
No, but that is crazy. Think about that as the history of this place. They wanted to colonize the land, or
Well, get rid of the natives.
but they wanted to be able to use this land that they had
Yeah. Well,
at
that
their
they didn't have.
disposal. Apparently, they couldn't do it, so they tricked Europeans, poor Europeans, into getting onto a boat, coming out here and being fodder for the Indians.
When do you send in the infantry? After the farmers.
Yeah.
Like that's a mode of warfare.
Yeah.
But were there people that got absolutely duped? Like it wasn't that bad, or it had to be horrible where all those people
potato
came from.
famine. The Irish
that's
were
Ireland,
dying.
but it was all over Europe after the war. Like
Over there, you just didn't have anything to eat. Over here, you're like fighting fucking
fight for your
killers every day of your life. No, I think here must have been better. It must have seemed like a chance, at least, where there you were just,
Like there's nothing crazier than the idea of the wagon train. You know what I mean? With the
It's just so ironic.
blazing saddles.
It's so ironic too. You think some of them had to land and be like, couldn't we have just taken the boat around?
to California, you mean?
Yeah, like because they just dropped them off and are like, by the way, it's going to take you about a year and a half.
What knowledge did people know about actually? How many people have thought the planet was flat? Were surprised that their boat got there? Like,
I mean, I guess
what
when I think-
knowledge was there?
When I think about it, how
they
do
can't.
how
They
do you
have
get
to
around?
go all the way around
Panama
South
Canal
America.
doesn't
There's no,
exist yet.
yeah,
Oh,
there's
the
no-
Panama Canal.
No, there's no
maybe.
canal. We made that.
Yeah, so you got to go all the way, or like you would actually want to go around
Up
the
north.
other way.
That's what I'm
I
thinking. That's
imagine.
that
And
would
can't
take you
do that.
2 years.
And you die from the
Yeah,
cold.
they did
and
die.
the this and
Yeah,
the
they did
that.
die, yeah.
Anyways, who knows?
So anyway, so the government, come on over and please be our cannon fodder.
I love too how the government was like, "Come over, we'll give you free land. There's a couple of natives. You'll never pay taxes. Well, eventually you'll pay taxes." You know what I mean? Like that was the whole thing too. Like you'll never pay tax to the king.
Well, I think that in some weird defense, that was when the war started. That's when they introduced a tax and it was supposed
Sure.
to come off.
My point is just like 100 years later, they're like, "Hey, guess what?
Or he says the guy is going out to the outposts and he's like, I'll take a hoe, a rake. Are you gonna take any guns? No, I don't think I'll need any guns.
Have you ever seen that Tom Cruise movie with Nicole Kidman? And they're like
Firing away.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. And it's pretty much that they come over on the boats to get their land. And the way they give away the land is they have like a race. They start everybody at the same place with like their stake. And then they just go. And, if you want to go a long way, won't have to fight a lot of people for your spots. It just seemed crazy if that's actually the way they did shit.
Well, that
back
is
then.
sort of happening in Northern Ontario right now.
In where, Kamar?
Northern Ontario.
Hmm.
A town is saying $10 for a piece of land.
Really?
You have to prove you have the means to do stuff with it, but yeah.
Okay.
In Germany it was illegal to swim, is true.
It was
He's staring at
illegal
me
to
like it was
swim.
my
According to the
fault.
internet, according to the internet, no, but he said people just came here and drowned. And the Comanche fell in love with the umbrella or the parasol. I'm really sort of interested because I in my head I do remember that sort of a weird thing in westerns, Indians with umbrellas or
Where
whatever.
did you see Indians with umbrellas?
Might have been Dance with the Wolves, but he was talking about they thought it was a great thing, and there were thousands of them. So imagine Indians riding with all these pretty umbrellas, different umbrellas, and each one represents them killing someone.
You just knew death was coming,
Yeah.
and it was this cloud of
That'd be a great
Shade.
graphic. That'd be
Shaded cloud.
lace umbrellas.
sort of like in 300 or something.
Yeah.
The things.
That's weird, man. But it's true because when they would raid the white people, they'd steal their shit, and I'm sure they didn't know what a lot of it was for, right? Like you might end up with like some lady's hat that the chief is wearing because it's
Because that for them to reverse engineer anything would be
you don't
only based on
understand?
what
Yeah,
they
I was
have.
just thinking in my head, I was like, imagine if originally the umbrella was meant just to catch rain, but the Native Americans put it the other way, and we're like, this is fucking great for shade. They actually,
Sunblocker, rain catcher.
Jesus.
I think the umbrella had a lot to do with blocking the sun. Like
I know, I was
parasols
joking.
were
I know.
no. I'm saying than actual umbrellas to block the rain.
Yeah, because they weren't made out of plastic like they are now.
This-
You would never
this is
would
what
have
I'm
caught
saying.
rain. I was joking.
I don't mean for catching rain. I mean for blocking rain. Mm-hmm. Most
Yeah, it was
people
a
don't
sun
catch
thing,
rain
yeah.
in their umbrellas.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Have I been doing it wrong this whole time?
this whole time. Man.
I'm like, what do I do with the water when I've got it all?
They
I'm soaking wet.
You
They-
just dump it on top of
they had a
yourself.
consensus when they're lamented about people's detachment with their food.
Like they
Did
talk
you just say
about
they get
all the
lamented?
time.
I was just trying to sound smart.
Okay.
Oh, that was
They lament about. Is that what you mean?
people don't understand where their food comes from if you condemn hunting for food, which I think the biggest thing, and not killing the animal, but knowing you could take it somewhere.
Like on a date?
I don't know. I
Gonna
don't
say to
think.
fuck it. Gotta get it while it's warm.
What are you
Well,
talking
you need a
about?
big enough fridge so it doesn't start smelling bad. No, cut all the fur off, gut the whole thing.
You want to do this?
No, but I'd like to know if I went out in the woods,
Yeah.
legally and caught an animal,
Yeah.
Legally.
I know where I could drive it to take care of
Oh, it's for somebody to do the
the
skinning,
butcher, whatever.
butchering,
Maybe
yeah.
you get half the thing or whatever.
Well, I'm sure if you were a hunter, you'd probably know a place like that if you weren't into skinning your own deers.
Once you go there and start buying bait, then you need a place to get rid of a dead animal. Anyways,
Like, not everybody skins their own deers, I'm sure.
I think most of the guys do.
Do
Any
they?
hunter I've spoken to, yeah. They're like, that's the whole thing.
rats are a result of our excess and our waste. Like take.
I mean, are they? Like, rats
This-
wouldn't exist without our excess waste?
Maybe they wouldn't exist in the
numbers,
the volume
yeah,
that they.
Sure.
I feel like they're like
but they would
But I agree with
exist.
you. It's not like there wasn't rats and then there was garbage and all of a sudden this vermin appeared.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
It's become a
no, but there's even excess waste in the 1600s in England where they had rats.
Of course,
they
that's
weren't
how they had
cleaning
no
up and
sewers.
stuff.
I understand. I'm just saying, if there was nothing,
They'd be
if
here
there
no
were
matter
only
what.
Aztecs, there would still be rats.
Yeah, well, I guess it's irresponsible. It's like an apartment that's unkept will get a lot of cockroaches. A city that's not clean will get more rats.
Listen, Captain Obvious, what's going on here? That's what ChatGPT told you to say?
Yeah.
Most redundant thing ever?
More garbage, more rats.
I bet you there's rats out in the country too, but they're not as bad as they're in the city. And I think people who actually are farmers and stuff don't have a lot of waste.
Farm rats are some of the worst rats out there.
There's more predators in the country too, though, Kamar.
If there's a chicken coop, you're thinking of human waste. There's all sorts of
I stand
waste that
corrected.
rats. Listen, I watched The Mink Man. 99% of the time, they're at a farm.
Yeah, there's a lot of rats in general.
There's a lot of rats.
Poignant.
Hunting
What a
process
podcast.
Yeah,
is physically
Captain
gross.
Redundant over here.
Vegetarians are responsible for more deaths than meat eaters. Monkeys eat meat. They were just agreeing on everything.
You don't have to say it then.
Did you see Mystic River? You guys saw Mystic River?
No. What's
Great
Mystic?
movie.
What's Mystic
You
River?
never saw it? Well, he wrote it.
Sean
Tell
Penn.
me the plot.
He wrote it?
Yes.
Tell me the
That's
plot.
why he brings it up.
Wow.
He's awesome.
I missed that.
His W's are way bigger than any of his L's, and I don't even
Simon,
think he has L's.
it takes place in Boston. Sean Penn is like a connected sort of gangster.
No. That was not Mystic. Mystic River takes place on a reservation with
No,
Jeremy Renner.
you're wrong. You have the wrong name then.
I do. No,
guys are the
You're so
worst.
sure. You're so sure.
I am so sure. Mystic River won. It was Sean Penn's first Oscar for Best Actor.
Yeah. So
It has
Yeah,
Tim Robbins.
Sean Penn, you're right. Mystic
Yeah.
River.
It has Kevin Bacon, Tim Robbins,
Directed.
Sean
can't
Penn.
believe I wrote that.
Oh,
down.
I've seen this. It's
Yeah, it's a
about the
fucking incredible
the
movie.
5 friends there.
The
or
three guys that
whatever.
grew up together. One of them got raped by some dude.
Yeah,
it
and they
fucked-
go back and kill him.
No, that's Sleepers.
No, this is Mystic fucking River.
No, but that is the plot of Sleepers. He's right. It's 4 guys.
Yes,
and they all
that is
get
the plot.
together and go back.
But
and
the
kill
plot
him.
of this is different.
Hold on, I got to read what this is about.
I don't want to ruin Mystic River for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Wind River.
There you go.
Wind River.
I've never heard of Wind River
Wind
in my
River.
whole life.
You've never heard of Wind
Mystic
River?
River is a fucking
Excellent.
incredible
Have
movie.
you seen Wind River?
No.
Right on. Well, he wrote it, and no, in it. Jeremy
You had me
Renner's-
really fucked up because I was like, this guy wrote like a top 50 of all time movie. Wow. Where are you
Oh,
ever wrong?
I've never seen this.
Mr. River, luck don't live in the
Maybe
woods.
I have. I don't know.
Listen, Sicario is a great movie. He wrote that.
Well, they did bring that up at the end, to his credit.
And he also created one of the most tense scenes in movie history in Sicario. So good on him there.
That coming up to the car there with when they're
The
at
border crossing scene
yeah, it's
is like,
fucking crazy.
I don't think there's a higher
It's crazy.
level. Yeah, like you the whole time.
Tension.
It also, Simon, you know what's crazy is I sat there thinking about it and I was like, did Taylor Sheridan just write this like out of his head, or does this sort of thing happen all the time at the border?
I think that must happen.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
operators just crossing. With
I
the-
don't know. I don't know how true that movie is to real life.
I'll tell
I
you
feel
this.
like real operators have some back door that they can take, some hole in the wall where
He did Sons of Anarchy.
He did not do it, I don't think. But
he
he
probably
was in
did
it.
an episode.
He was, oh no, he was a recurring character.
Oh, was he?
But there, okay, we talk about big pharma. They talked about all the bigs.
Yeah.
Big pharma, big pharma,
Big oil.
gets the support of.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Write down. Big pharma gets the support of the media.
Well, they buy the media.
They buy the media. Big oil doesn't get as much because
They don't buy
the media will push against it and not say it specifically. Actually, Big Oil does a good job of keeping its name specifically. Do you remember when that fucking cat blew in the Gulf? It was 24-hour watch of the.
Yeah,
It was
of it
just a geyser
spilling
of,
oil.
like the most pressurized thing you could imagine of oil just filling up.
The Gulf of Mexico.
That stuff doesn't. They don't talk about that, and they don't talk about the fucking cartels. Big cartel has an embargo on the media.
The $3.5 trillion a year.
It's as big as Big Pharma. It is
It's
Big Pharma,
bigger.
bigger than Big Pharma. They definitely have an influence, or the media would be talking about all this stuff at the border. There's cartel has got to know about it. Imagine that. We didn't even know. We don't even know who's doing this. Can you believe we're selling cocaine to the whole world, and we don't even know who's running people up through our border? Like, obviously, they're in charge of the whole thing. Like, but their names won't get mentioned.
It also is funny too because
It's been a while, at least.
What is he talking? I'm sorry, I'm lost.
he's saying that big oil doesn't get the cartels don't get mentioned in mainstream media. is what he's saying.
Cartels, all cartels don't get mentioned in mainstream media.
All cartels.
They don't get trash or they don't get mentioned.
Well, I mean,
Well,
mainstream
when
media
there's like
doesn't
wars
cover.
going on down there and people are getting killed,
No, they don't mention.
They talk about the opioid crisis. They still don't talk about the cartels doing it.
Simon,
we
they
know
don't.
we know who it is, but the news doesn't say it. It's
They don't tell you that 5 naked bodies get strung up on that fucking bridge in Tijuana like every day. They
as
don't
he
tell you
said
that.
in Sicario was the Kid Gloves version of what he knows about.
You know what my problem with Sicario is that they released the sequel and that they tried to recreate that scene. That bothered me. I was like, just leave
They
well
went-
enough
went-
alone.
Went back to the well.
Yeah, like why? I don't know. That's just a personal thing.
I don't understand the almond water again. Well, I'm gonna have to do something here. 3 truckloads of water for one almond.
Yeah, why the fuck are we having almonds anymore?
No,
Just
wait,
outlaw almonds.
Wait, what? So the water goes into the almond. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but this water just.
I think the tree takes a lot of
Yeah, they're
water
saying, yeah.
to survive, to produce the flower.
And it destroys water.
What are you fucking talking
It
about?
use water to become leaves, which goes back.
Well,
like,
it gets. Well, I don't know what happens.
it
It goes
eventually-
out in carbon
it doesn't erase
monoxide
it.
or something. Carbon dioxide.
Yeah, that really eats a hole in your whole water doesn't go anywhere thing, doesn't it?
It does go somewhere. It becomes
It's
a
in the
gas
wood,
and
like-
goes into the sky.
Okay, but then
a piece of wood at your cottage is 5 years old could have water in it still.
yeah, okay, but eventually your whole thing is that water has to evaporate and then become rain and fall back
Yes.
somewhere. Yes.
And then it gets sucked up by a tree. And then that tree burns. And then that turns into
Nope. Nope.
No,
Nope.
no, I don't think so.
what Cat Williams said is that, do you know why God made water?
To put out the fires.
Because you know the recipe and you still can't make it. You give me a million years to take oxygen and hydrogen, make water, which we should be able to make water, right? Based on that idea. We know what it is.
I'm pretty sure we can. I bet in a lab they can create condensation using hydrogen and oxygen. No,
I hope we do. It's just
That
that-
is,
that was
I've
this
never
big thing.
thought about that before. You can't.
but hold on, Kamar. How do they make it rain in the Middle East?
with dollar bills, y'all.
No, they're
Yeah, they put something in the sky that creates.
they're peppering the clouds.
But my point is that creates rain,
Okay,
which is water, correct?
we should just be able to make a cup of water
You can't. Okay.
in the lab, right? That's what
No,
you're
just
saying.
in your iPhone. Just
I love
in your iPhone. What does that mean?
I love that like 70% of the earth is water, and Simon's like, how are we not creating this stuff in a lab already? It's
No,
fucking
but
everywhere.
You would think like he is right. We do have the recipe, and we can't make it.
molecular manipulation.
But Simon, do you think
M&M.
should we be making sand in the lab too?
Like it's weird that
Sure.
you can't just
If
put
you need sand.
two things together like ginger ale and baking soda, and you
What
get
did you call it?
water.
Ginger ale?
Ginger ale, yeah. What's your problem? Ginger ale?
Well, that's what it's called.
What did you say?
I said ginger ale.
You said gingerella,
No A.
which would be a great name for a new brand of
Why?
ginger ale.
How do you say
Ginger ale?
Gingerella?
ginger ale?
Gingerella.
No, ginger
You
ale.
sound like you're saying Superman's dad's name.
Say ginger ale.
Gingerella.
No,
You got to say straight, and he thinks he's losing his mind.
Gingerella is like a great name for like a rock band, a mock band,
Of gingers.
a mock rock band.
A mock band.
gingerella.
Gingerella.
It'd have to be like a real poppy.
Oh, I was thinking kind of like dark and
Do you have
like
any
leather
cold
suits.
gingerellas?
Like what's her name?
Interesting.
Vampirella.
You went that way.
What's her name?
Vampirella. I don't know who you're talking about.
You do.
Gingerella?
No, she wears the skirt. Elvira.
Mistress of
Wow,
the
you
Dark.
went way back. That's who you were thinking of? I never would have gotten there.
No, I think I was thinking of Barbarella,
Okay, you went even further back.
which is I think Elvira was Barbarella. No,
No, I think Barbarella was like a 40s movie.
interesting.
And
So
a
he-
strip club in Ottawa.
True.
His new show is with Billy Bob Thornton,
Yeah.
which I like to meet Billy Bob Thornton.
I'm not a huge Billy Bob fan.
Do you remember? Well, you want to know why?
Yeah, because of the blood in the vial.
No, because of Gian
Yes,
Gameshi.
that's exactly what it is. The
John
Fallen.
Gameshi?
Okay, so you remember Gian Gameshi had a show on CBC. What the fuck was it called?
Q.
Oh yeah,
Thank you,
he's the guy
Q.
who got in trouble there.
So famously, Billy Bob Thornton went on Q with his band, and I guess they told Gian Gameshi not to mention Billy Bob Thornton as an actor.
You know, they take this. We want to talk about the band. We talk about
Yeah,
music.
we're here to talk about the
that's
music.
What we're here to talk about.
So in his intro to the show, Gian Gameshi's like, I'm here with this band, yada, yada, yada. They're fronted by Billy Bob Thornton, who's an accredited actor, you know, so and so and so. And then he starts the interview, and immediately Billy Bob Thornton, it went viral. Like, Billy Bob Thornton was pissed. Like, he was not, like, he was so pissed. And a lot of people were like, wow, why would he do that to this nice Canadian guy? And then, like, 5 years later, we found out that Gian Gameshi was an absolute total piece of shit to women.
I don't even know if that. I think he was the first Me Too that was like.
No,
All I said was he was a piece of shit to women.
But who wanted him to be a piece of shit? I think he might have got done dirty.
my hatred for Billy Bob comes from the fact that he used to wear a vial around his neck filled with Angelina Jolie's blood.
Yeah.
And that is just stupid.
If she wanted to fuck you, would you wear her blood?
Oh, I would wear fucking bags of her blood around my neck.
Cold Fusion.
Oh no, hold on a sec, because I remember what I was gonna say before I lost it back then.
Okay.
Back then,
Yeah.
they were talking about electric cars and how it's just such bullshit, and we need gas cars. You can't just have electric cars. They're just charging and this and that and what you have to do for the batteries. Joe never equates when he badmouths
Elon. I know.
Elon. Like, you have to say his name. I feel like he's doing himself a disservice by playing this like weird fence sitting bullshit with Elon.
Dude,
you can be friends with him. No, you can't, because you'll have to admit he's a shyster.
Joe constantly does this thing where he's like, this man melding with machine thing is the worst thing. It's going to end humanity. Dude, your boy is at the forefront of this. Like,
he's at the forefront of all the terrible shit.
all the stuff you hate.
Yeah.
But you big this guy up
Yeah.
like he's an absolute fucking genius, smartest guy on earth.
It really bothers me, Matt. It really
Yeah, it
bothers me.
doesn't sit too well with me either.
But it comes from an American point of view
What does that mean?
What?
that doesn't mind the brash asshole as much as your Canadian sensibilities does.
Go fuck yourself.
No, I don't think that's it.
Okay.
I don't think that's it.
Yeah, you and your shitty Canadian sensibilities.
They're not shitty. We've just talked about them.
They're oppressed, but they're not shitty.
Yeah, they're oppressed and they're insecure.
What?
Well, you know how we always like until Drake and Justin Bieber, we always just had this sort of like all the cool things come from America. What I don't know how to explain it in words. But did you finish your point?
Yes.
He's talked about nuclear and cold fusion, and then when Joe asked him about cold fusion, he was like, "Well, I don't know. I read like it came out of the we all just talk about the headlines, but they never bring up nuclear reactors on fucking aircraft carriers."
So I realize the problem with nuclear.
Oh, okay, here it is.
Well, I just if you would like a glaring problem is should there be any issue with civilization at any point where they can't be manned, they will melt down.
They have to run now forever, like the machine that's cleaning up the bank.
So the
Oil.
problem is like if we have some sort of like Joe keeps talking about like the lights going out or whatever, or some sort of issue where like society crumbles, even for like maybe a couple weeks we'd be okay, but it's not. I don't see society crumbling for a couple weeks and then bouncing back. That's one glaring problem, I would say. That like,
Yeah, that is a huge problem.
yeah. So what keep in mind what I'm saying is like, if the lights go out, like some people will survive. Humanity
But
could.
why can't you turn off a nuclear power plant?
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
No, that is the question because there have been 2,121 nuclear tests done since the first in July 1945, involving 247,700 nuclear devices. I don't know how there's more of one, but why didn't any of those affect us? Mm-hmm. That's what I also wonder when I wonder about, is it really bad? Because he goes, Fukushima's fucked for life. Chernobyl's fucked for life.
Yeah, what about those other 2,100 other places?
I don't understand. I can't explain it, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, I guess.
No, you're right. It doesn't, Kamar. I agree with you.
And when Joe says something like, that's where communism goes, kids, the kids aren't listening to him. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's anyone who's listening to Joe Rogan who's like, wow, you're right, Joe. Who for the most part, I disagree with you, but on this one, you're right. Like, he's preaching the choir, I think.
What's weird to me, too, is like every time, like I agree communism won't work, but it's kind of glaringly obvious that the U.S. has intervened anytime anyone tried communism.
Like it hasn't got its fair shot to work. Well, no, Russians would probably disagree with you on that.
Yeah, I know they would, and I'm saying I disagree. Listen, I'm saying I don't think communism would work. I'm not a communist. I don't want communism here. What I'm saying, though, is I don't think there's been a place on earth that's been allowed to just be communist without the U.S. stepping in and saying, no fucking shot.
And I say China, Russia, and North Korea, and they're probably and Cuba, but no.
Well, is China winning right now? Let me ask you that.
I don't know. Big China probably tells the news. Who knows what is really happening?
Just humor me for a sec here.
Sure.
Why did the U.S. give a fuck how another country ran their shit?
Because if another country was communist and all their people were happy and everyone was fed and the government ran well and the country was rich, that doesn't look so great for democracy all of a sudden. And democracy was the whole thing for the states, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the whole pushback against communism.
Well, okay, I'll play your game. I can't think of
It's
a reason.
It'll make our way of life look bad.
I'm with you, Simon, where I can't think of a reason why a country would care how another country runs their shit.
Why do you care? Why was it such a we have to stop this at all costs?
I think it was because communism, like the idea was probably that because it wouldn't work, they would eventually
It works
have to.
there. People will want it here. When I was in Cuba, a guy showed me his ration ticket.
Yeah.
which maybe they just give that to you to show the tourists. I don't know.
Taylor Sheridan also spoke about free healthcare. Like he was disgusted by it.
Well, we everywhere I go, I have a conversation about healthcare because it's like all the news is saying healthcare professionals are crying, they're breaking apart. It's a crisis. There's an emergency room out east that said, "Please don't come." I was joking about how. Have you ever watched ER?
Yeah.
Stop! I need to go in here. And then you walk into the Ottawa emergency room is like, do. Nothing's happening. But
No.
like,
So the United States feared specifically a domino effect that the communism of the USSR would spread from one country to the next, destabilizing one nation, which would in turn destabilize the next and allow the communist regimes to dominate the region.
That's not a great excuse, is it?
I mean, I guess if you actually believe that communism is like the communists are going to attack you, that's what
That's not what that said, though.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Is it? Read it again.
the United States feared specifically a domino effect that the communism of the USSR would spread from one country to the next, destabilizing one nation, which would in turn destabilize the next and allow for communist regimes to dominate the region. That's why they had to contain communism. What you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but we don't know why. I still haven't found out why they hated communism. That's why they wanted to contain it.
But even then, why would the U.S. care about that region of the world? Like, it doesn't affect them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do get what you're saying, unless it was a threat to them. Like if they deem communist Russia, like they were going to attack the United States and they were building up all this territory around them. Well, you would want to stop that, I imagine, because eventually it creeps onto your front door.
That's assuming that we believe in the Cold War, right? Like, that could have all been bullshit. And
Yeah,
propaganda.
I mean, it probably was a lot of bullshit, knowing what we know now.
Well, that's kind of that's what I'm getting at. Either way, I'm not
So
for
they just-
communism. I would rather we
No. So that's the question, right? Did they hate Russia and then in turn hate communism, or did they hate communism and in turn hate Russia because Russia? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, if you think about it, it's weird because eventually Russia was like, okay, we'll do democracy. We have a vote. This guy, you know what I mean? And now democracy is like not real there. Putin's in with 98% of the vote every time.
Well, there must have been a leader at the time that
It was
was
Yeltsin, right?
pro-America, Gorbachev.
Oh, yeah, one of those two.
then Yeltsin.
I think it was Yeltsin that was so pro-America, though.
But he was actually pickled on vodka. Like he's so drunk. Again, he was like a Biden. He was so drunk, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Then he was just on vodka.
You
the
think
whole time.
Biden is drunk all the time?
No, but the same thing. Like it's a puppet. Like there's there's no way you're actually functioning, and making big
But
decisions.
Putin was Yeltsin's right-hand man, right?
Putin was probably the Dick Cheney to.
Well, he worked for the KGB at that time, under one of them.
Yoel Romero's fight against Stylebender is crazy.
Yeah.
He lost to
It
him,
was
but
a terrible fight.
the guy Stylebender ran around the ring and it was
No, it was Yoel Romero that was fucking.
And how he just stood up for a second. Yoel Romero would have killed him. He'd hit his leg so much that he had trouble chasing him down, but he should have won that fight. Eh?
What? Sorry, my remembering of that fight was that Yoel was acting like a fucking weirdo and not wanting to.
Well, Yoel always acts like a weirdo.
He wouldn't engage with Stylebender, and Stylebender was getting like super frustrated. Is that not right?
I don't know. Listen to this. I went and watched the highlights, and it looks like he's chasing Stylebender around the ring for the whole thing. And he gets with a couple good kicks, but
I remember that I was so upset by the fight, but
because you don't
maybe I'm
understand, this guy has an extra tendon in his eye socket. Anyways,
Well, he cheated in one fight. What fight was that where they gave him like an extra, they let him sit when he wasn't supposed to sit, and then they didn't call them back to the ring for like 2.5 minutes?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was against Rory McDonald? No. Who's Joe's, the guy who's on with Joe from the army there? He was just on.
The guy from the army.
I think he was in the army and he's a jiu-jitsu guy in the UFC.
Kennedy?
Tim Kennedy. It was in that Tim Kennedy fight. And Tim Kennedy should have won that fight, but because of that controversial...
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The only Yoel Romero fight that I remember for sure is him knocking out Luke Rockhold and then kissing him.
I apologize for bringing it up. Another thing he said, this is just hour one of this podcast.
Well, we're an hour.
Yeah,
in.
what are you doing?
I can wrap it up though. He said quickly that the First Nations or Indians, whatever you want to call them, killed a lot of settlers, but bandits really were bad. Mm-hmm. Which is that's what's the weird thing about that time is
there was a lot of white on white crime,
just white on immigrant crime or whatever you want to say. And some of those guys probably, well, I doubt anyone lived that long, but if they got out of the game, but did horrible things to people and just you'd come across a dead family.
What do you mean got out of the game?
Like retired.
Your Billy Kid robbed the right train or whatever.
Like you saw in Tombstone, let's say.
Again, anything like that we love. Right?
Those guys would fight in the war, and then they'd become casino holder, whatever, because they ended up with money afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, just quickly, it should be a consensus that the DNC should not be choosing their leader.
Sorry, what?
They were talking about how DNC in North Carolina and a couple states said, Joe Biden we're not going to do the committee thing.
What the fuck is that?
They don't have the right to say that. And everyone should just say collectively, you shouldn't be doing that. Or it defeats the purpose of democracy.
Yeah, you can't be out there fighting other countries because they have communism or whatever. And then at home, you have this total corruption to the thing that you hold so dear.
And I'm trying to say it's not bipartisan. I'm not of either party, but this is a conflict of interest that this is being allowed, but it's allowed. Just like the 4 steps in the NBA. It's the same sort of thing.
3 steps.
Whatever.
But it's almost like they don't want to win. Like they're intentionally throwing it because there's no fucking way that Biden
why
wins.
would they be intentionally throwing it?
But think about it. The Republicans want to win so bad that even they didn't like Donald Trump, but they were like, this guy's so popular. We're just going to go with him.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, we don't like him, but at least we'll get 2 Supreme Court justices out of it. So fuck it. We'll run with Donald Trump. I can't see why the Democratic Party would be like, this senile old man, we're going with him again.
Do you know that he got the most votes ever in an American election?
Yeah, it's the only election where we had mail-in ballots. Come on.
Donald Trump also got, if you take Biden out of that election, Donald Trump got the most votes ever.
Government is...
interesting.
Well, right? Like if you're going to work it that way.
Government is the most dysfunctional business. Like any other business that ran like a government would be chapter 511 be divided up. Like there had to be a point where governments had.
You can tell how business savvy this guy is. He goes, you'd have to fire chapter 511.
But like the countries should be taken away from governments. Like you do not know what you're doing. You're just running this thing into the ground.
Yeah. The fact that every government is just massively in debt should tell you all you need to know.
I mean, there is one.
There's not a province in Ontario, not the nation as a whole, that is above board in dollars.
But there had to be a time.
Listen, there's certain things where
60 years ago.
There's certain things where for sure we could privatize them out and they would work. But there's some things where you just can't privatize them, Kamar, because the business world is too cutthroat, where it will, like if you privatize welfare, for example, you know what I mean? It immediately would just be like, no one's getting benefits.
But why are you trying to privatize things? What was
I'm saying let's just say we'll take Ottawa as a small sample size, okay? If you were to privatize public transportation, like BC has privatized their public transportation, it runs way better. Because again, there's checks and balances. It's not just the government throwing endless money at a thing that doesn't even fucking work. Like the O train, there never would have been that debacle if a fucking private company was dealing with it, because they would never be down to lose that much money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So there's certain things, things within government where you can.
The government worked with a private company that must have, I do not understand how these.
Yeah, you're not
they don't
wrong
lose
there.
money either. Yeah. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's all a fucking farce. They're all corrupt. Don't believe anything anyone tells you. Term limits. He wrote a season.
Term limits.
Just saying words.
He wrote a season of Yellowstone on Saturdays.
No, that sounds about right.
That's
you know
why.
what I mean?
That's why it is what it is.
The only time I would write Yellowstone was on the toilet as I took my morning shit.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
When you're watching it, that's what it feels like you're watching.
Yeah. No, that totally made sense to me. I was like, oh, I get it. You were making like decent movies and just in your spare time
just churning
writing
out
your
this
hit television
garbage.
show.
Everyone's going to plan except for New Orleans.
Like, I bet when he's writing, he's like, Beth's tits come out. They are glistening.
You have to admit by now, or maybe you don't have to. You don't have to admit it, but the hate for Trump is ridiculous. No one can be as bad as people are suggesting he is at this point.
No. I mean, listen, I think he's an asshole, but I don't like.
He had more potential of being as bad as people say he was when he was president. Like, people are forgetting that. The hate is just, it's too much. No,
it doesn't matter though. He'll be.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
You should hate him because he's annoying. You know what I mean? That's fine.
But
Or an
fear of what
insane
he
narcissist.
could do, and it's crazy. And what do you think of the thing Paul Harvey played, which is the exact same thing as a subservation, or similar to what the Russian guy said? If I was the devil,
Oh, that was
that
so
was
interesting.
No, that was
Yeah.
too fucking biblical for me.
Oh,
Too much.
really?
Yeah, too much
because
Bible.
it was either the devil or God. But I was just thinking about if heaven, you're always happy. That's impossible. It's impossible to always be happy because you have nothing compared to. In hell, you're always suffering. That's also impossible.
Why? Whoa, sorry. Why
get
is
used to it.
Why is it impossible to always be happy?
The
You
sweet
just
and the
get
sour,
happier and
Simon.
happier and happier and happier. It's just impossible.
No, it's just there is no emotion. So
There is no emotion.
It's bliss.
And you're aware of nothing.
It's bliss.
And you're aware of nothing. Yeah. Like if hell was you had to put on every article of clothing you ever owned on top of each other and then take it off and then put it back on again for the rest of your life. You'd get used to that. You look
I love
forward
that
to some
that's the
t-shirts.
worst he thinks hell. Like the devil's just been plotting for thousands of years, and that's the best he can come up with. He's like, all right, put on all the clothes you've ever owned.
I'm self.
Like, what are we gonna do? We've been working on this forever. You know what? I'm bored. Just have him put on every piece of clothes
I'm
he's ever bought.
self-censoring.
They're like, what if we smash his penis with a hammer? He's like, no, come on.
Yeah, which then led them into the whole Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool.
Which we're about to finish on. A nice tiny bow.
Nice tiny Poe.
Nice tiny Poe. We're about to finish on a nice tiny Poe.
It takes 60 million years to create evolution.
60 million years.
Something like that.
Okay.
Go on.
Some being could have started, spun the dime, and now we're here.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Aliens created us to create AI.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get too much into this because that's what we're going to talk about, Deborah. Oh,
Are we?
yeah. Well, what else are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
Aliens are demons. What do
I
you think
mean,
about
we've
that?
talked about this before,
We have.
right? Because like Lou Elizondo and all these guys have said the truth is way scarier than people would ever imagine. And I don't think they mean like scarier, like it's a scarier alien. I think the concept is going to be very like disarming for people.
Disarming.
Yeah, because listen, we've all kind of accepted. Yeah, of course there are aliens.
I thought you were going to say
out there
disorientating.
in outer space somewhere, and they're probably little green creatures that, whatever. But it's, if you find out that like the idea of demons is a real thing and that everything you know about the Bible is true, I don't know. It just could be a real weird like paradigm shifter. More than just aliens on the White House lawn.
I don't fucking care.
He said that John Wayne had a pig heart.
Okay.
It was
Joe's
a
like,
valve.
what? It was a valve. And then he said, my buddy Everlast. And
Oh, well, fuck him then.
like, no, but who doesn't know who Everlast is? There's no way Taylor Sheridan doesn't know Jump Around. He's 52 years old.
Yeah, but
Oh,
you might
Joe
not know
said,
Everlast
"My
was
buddy
part of fucking
Everlast."
House of Pain. There's a lot of people that don't know that.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't have to mention that.
How old do you think Taylor
You know,
Sheridan is? How old is
53.
he? Oh, you
I
already
looked
looked
it
it
up.
up.
Yeah. I looked because he was in My Friend Everlast. I thought everyone knows who Everlast is. Maybe
Well, if
I'm
he's
wrong.
53, he's heard
Maybe
jump
wrong.
around.
Of course,
Get the fuck
yeah.
out of
He's
here.
been to a football game.
He's been to a football game.
Are people making memes? He was introducing Taylor Sheridan to memes because he's not on social.
That had to be the
shit.
worst fucking piece of podcasting
It's
ever.
not the best, but are people making memes?
Well, where do you think they're coming from?
And had Taylor Sheridan really never seen a meme before? Like, what the fuck are we
Oh,
talking
no,
about?
he said he
here?
knew what they were, but
Come on, he's not like a real cowboy who lives out in the fucking thing and
No, he is.
and who's never seen a television set before.
Well, they don't play memes on
think
TV.
I think he's lived on a ranch.
Yeah, he makes a fucking television show.
Yeah, they don't play memes
I
on
think
TV.
when he was in the position to do that was before this existed. I'll give him that.
There is no fucking way that he doesn't know what memes are.
I didn't say that. I just said he's not on social media and he does live on a ranch and he's just not exposed to any of that shit. I bet he rarely looks at his phone. Maybe for emails, for scripts or something. But
Maybe you're
but
right.
AI could easily be making memes.
I think when he says his ranch, he's living on like Joe Rogan ranch, you know?
And then at the end of this, I mean, they talked
know his
about
ranch.
they talked about masks and COVID
We
and all
know
that other
his
stuff.
ranch. You think his ranch is
It's the 666. It's
Yes,
where they film
yes.
the fucking.
He said that. I skipped it over, but that's where like 65 or 75% of 1883 was filmed on his property.
and you think he's like a legit cowboy out there
100%.
doing cowboy work every day.
yeah.
No, I
That's
think-
why he has to write Yellowstone on Saturday afternoons.
Well, he was filming in a movie. He's living life. But Joe said we have to have these long form conversations. You've been having these long form conversations about the same fucking things for 5 fucking years. It doesn't change anything. So it's not necessary. It's entertaining and nice, but these conversations don't have to happen when two guys just agree about everything. I don't think we go further. I was interested in the guy though.
I mean, what is the
But what about Lex's podcast?
Yeah, good luck.
I mean, I agree with you that it's okay. I agree with you. Forget it.
I have to turn Alex podcast off just to sort of like settle down because it's a real conversation, but it's too much for me.
what was your point though? Sorry.
My point
about
was
Lex?
just my point was Lex has different conversations. I don't think he gets stuck in the Joe Rogan trap. And
100%.
you agree with that?
I agree with you.
And so what I'm saying is, I agree with him in that Joe Rogan's podcast has been on for 12 years, and it's not like the world has gotten better in 12 years. If anything, it's gotten worse. So I agree with him that Joe saying these long form conversations are so important. If they went away tomorrow, it doesn't fucking
Don't
matter.
know, unfortunately.
What I'm saying though is Lex's podcast potentially,
Yeah.
just because of the meeting of the minds, could something good, really good for humanity, could come out of it. That's all I was saying. Just trying to
Like someone who learned about the boneyard, went and got the bones in the river.
Well, Joe is the first place you would have learned about like
a lot of stuff.
your boy, the vaccine guy, you know, like
Simon, you hate Joe Rogan, not me.
That's true.
what's your point?
I'm just saying him saying these conversations have to happen. He has this conversation 3 times a
week.
month. Like, no, isn't that our biggest gripe? And it pains for me when he just talks about the same thing over again. I'm sure it's a new guy, but is it making a change?
In
Well,
the
I
world,
think
no.
Joe's podcast is making a change, is my point. Like, you wouldn't know to fight vaccines if it wasn't for Joe.
I mean,
And his
that's a good point.
You wouldn't know tons of shit that is like,
That's a strong point.
No. I have a broad
But Simon, even
umbrella of conspiracy sites.
even with Joe's podcast being out there, we still got locked down. All 3 of us got vaccinated. Even Kamar, who didn't want to. Like what he's saying still stands
yeah,
true.
but
It didn't
we won't
really.
be fooled next time. Whereas
Oh no,
we
people
would
are
have just been fooled
People
again.
are fooled
you
right
know?
now. There's people who
Yeah, but they don't
wish
probably listen to
they
Joe
could put
Rogan.
a mask on.
Yeah.
and would be aghast if you. Found
Well,
you
like a
didn't
friend
get
of
something.
ours got really sick just recently.
Who?
I don't want to like blow up anybody's spot.
Okay.
Write it on
well-
the fucking sheet.
Anyways, she got really sick.
It's a
and
woman.
Oh,
so there must be shit going on still, you know?
There always will be because there always has been.
Yeah, the point
the
is
people
you're
who got
not
the plague.
90 years old, so you won't die from it. Like you've gotten bad flus before and been out for a week, right? Pre-COVID.
Not me, but
Okay, yeah, you've never been sick. Simon has that
Mickey
Jew
Mantle.
constitution.
Mickey
Oh yeah, that
Mantle
Mickey
gene.
Mantle gene.
What I want to ask is how crazy is it that the Congo isn't like a Saudi Arabia? If
Yeah,
you
should be
have
one
the
of the
thing
richest countries on
that
earth.
everyone on the planet needs, where's the disconnect there? Just,
Well, it's 'cause-
I'm sure corruption, China's bought it all, the government, there's an answer, but it still doesn't make sense. What do you think the population of Congo is?
Yeah, like they have these mines where they're pulling out all these sacred special minerals that the rest of the world needs. How come Africa now isn't Dubai?
Because they've been exploited by everyone.
North America, yeah. We
Well,
spent
you-
100
like,
years
the America
destabilizing.
was all up in the Middle East
hey,
too, you know?
You, like me, is asking the question.
It's
I don't get
weird.
it.
That I agree. That's fucking
What's
weird.
the
man.
population of Congo? 93 million.
Oh, you were supposed to let us
Like
go.
that,
sorry.
that sounds like the most racist
I
shit
thought you did because that was his answer.
I've ever heard.
Doesn't it?
It does.
If you have the thing everyone needs, but it's just we
But
don't know how
you're,
to.
sorry, you're black, so we're just gonna come and take it.
We
Like,
don't know how to handle
That's
money.
pretty much what they're saying.
They're trading them
You guys are
umbrellas.
brown. You're okay. You do your thing. We'll buy your oil. But anything that comes from down here, we're just taking.
Well, I think you're missing the point that they've been buying oil for a very, very long time. So the war in the Middle East didn't change the fact that they had already made people there very rich. Whereas in Africa, like if you're talking about all these minerals that in the last 20 years have become incredibly valuable, they had already destabilized the whole nation. So it was easy to go
did
in.
the U.S. ever fight a war in Africa?
No, but the Congo has the longest. It has the longest
They're at
civil
war
war in
themselves,
history
that's it.
and the second bloodiest
That's
civil
the
war in history.
the Zuni and the Hutus.
That was Rwanda, but it could be
was Rwanda.
similar. Yeah. Anyways, there's a couple things I missed, but it could have been better conversation if it wasn't such a agree-a-thon. I'd prefer just about storytelling and Sicario and all those things. They did touch on them. I give it a 3.
You know what I think part of the problem is, though? I think part of the problem is that a lot of these people want to come on Joe to gripe about the government or, like, I don't think it's necessary. I get what you're saying. There's times where he drives the conversation into these weird places where it's like, why are we talking about COVID with Taylor Sheridan? Like, reminds me of that Dave Chappelle joke, like, get Ja Rule on the phone after 9/11. Like, who gives a fucking shit? Like,
I feel like a lot of these guys think that that's going to be their, like, if I do this, then the conversation will go good.
I guess, yeah. I mean, listen, we know, like, with Deborah coming up, there's a lot of people that come on and have clearly listened to a shitload of Joe and are, like, prepared.
This
and-
guy had never listened to an episode.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
get-
yes, he had.
Oh, you think so?
He quoted episodes.
Did he?
Really? Which episodes?
I remember you talking to Elon. He talked about
Oh, yeah, you're right,
legalizing
yeah.
weed. He
That
said,
just seems
because
like
it's legal. 'Cause
Oh,
they
and
got
it couldn't be a clip because he doesn't fucking use the internet.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, he's never seen a meme.
Again, one thing we think we are seeing people when we hear them on Joe Rogan, the realest, rawest possibly can. It's 3 hours. No one can keep up. People can. People can present themselves however they
we
want.
know that's the fact because Joe's like, you can't have a conversation with somebody for 3 hours and not find out they're true. Well, you can if you're not asking them the right questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can go a whole episode about a guy and never find out that he happened to be the cook on Epstein Island.
Yeah. You've had Elon Musk on like 3 times. You've never asked him about his
About
dad.
the minerals
Yeah,
or his dad
yeah,
with
none
the
of
fucking
that's-
diamond mines.
None of that's come up.
That's hilarious.
I think it might have come up.
It's never.
I think the minerals might have come up.
Never.
I'll give Joe a break,
I
though.
think he
Listen,
told him about it.
I'll give Joe a break. Twice now, he has mentioned the fact that Mike Baker blew him off when he asked about American propaganda overseas.
But that still is go-to guy.
I
when
know, he'll
there's
have
a
him back
problem
on.
for
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
fucking-
get briefed.
Let's get briefed. Is that it, Kamar? Are we done with that episode then?
Yeah, unfortunately, I rated it 3.
It must have been hard to make that rating with Joe's dick stuck in your mouth.
And shit,
Jesus.
Taylor's dick in my ass.
Oh my
It was
God.
really hard.
Human centipede.
I was in a ecstasy.
Jesus. I'll give it a... Yeah, sure, I'll give it a 3.
I was going to give this a high score, but upon reflection, I don't think I loved it that much, and I'm going to give it a 2.
It gets bonus points for being first time and a guy who's
Well, that's what I was going to say. I liked having a first-time guest on. I didn't hate listening to it, which is why it gets a 3.
Here's my problem, okay? The things I want to hear out of Taylor Sheridan,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a 25-minute discussion about Sicario. And then I want to have a 20-minute discussion about another great movie he did. I don't want to talk about the COVID. I don't want to talk about, you know what I mean?
You know, I
so
like to-
as soon as they do that,
the hardship
over.
to get this shot. Or we had to do this
Sure.
or whatever.
Sure. Let's hear some, like, he's done some fucking good stuff.
Well, the problem is, I don't think we'd get that. Like, what was your writing process for Yellowstone? Like, I don't know, Saturdays I'd have some coffee and write it. Like, I don't know if we were going to get that
What was the worst
deep.
part about
Well, we know
Yellowstone?
what that was.
the best
He ate
part
cereal,
of
he watched cartoons, and then
Yeah.
he wrote...
What was your question, Kamar?
You'd say, what was the best part about making that? What was the hardest part about
Yeah,
making
sure.
that? Is Kevin Costner a cool guy?
Talk
Is
about
Beth-
Sicario.
Is Beth a crazy drunk slut in real life?
Well, he's in a whole thing with Ty Hauser right now.
Who the fuck is Ty Hauser?
Rip.
Okay.
Because Rip started this, like, I'm just going to make this up. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's Rip started a saddle company.
Okay.
And his saddle company's logo is similar to Taylor's logo for the
666 Ranch.
for the ranch.
Yeah.
Or no, or maybe for the Yellowstone Ranch. I don't even know, but they're suing each other. There's some
Oh,
shit
that's
going
hilarious.
on. Yeah, so they could have talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no questions about Kevin Costner. Like,
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. We're going to take a break and we will be back. We're back.
Back in time.
Come on, name and a number.
2082, Dr. Deborah So. I'd just like to apologize to listeners and Miss So for misnaming her and calling her Dr. O.
This fucking guy.
no, her fucking name is Dr. So Annoying, and I wish we could have just skipped this episode altogether.
So much a bit of a panderer. The one thing she said, which doesn't make any sense, this is her third appearance, but her was less notable because it was over Skype. Remember when Joe went there?
What are you talking about?
Joe did Skype podcasts.
Not with her though.
Yes. That's what there's.
I thought he had only done one, and it was with John Anthony West, and then he did another one with
John Stewart.
somebody else who was huge.
Did John Stewart.
Why are we not questioning why he said that like a 14-year-old girl? Joe Rogan really went there?
Who
You
said that?
just said
she
that.
Did. Dr. Deborah So.
No, but I don't even think that's true. I'll find out. You keep going. I'll find out.
They were trying. I don't know how to word this, but the impact of professors on students. Like I only got to high school, but I didn't. And for maybe a failure on my part, I didn't have much respect for anything.
No, it's a weird thought for me too.
For me too, I was thinking the exact same thing.
I know. I was like, how do you let a professor get in your head? Like, I hated teachers, and there
be
wasn't.
this influential
Everything
that
they
you-
said, I thought was
There
total
wasn't
bullshit.
yeah.
I can't think of a teacher that got through to me where I was like, "You're really
Zero.
talking my language."
And listen,
like,
I went to university. They stunk there too. Like it wasn't.
yeah.
But are we outliers then?
I don't know.
I guess so.
I don't know.
Maybe it's different in the States. Maybe you go to university and you're like university professors are your best friends and you trust everything that comes out of their mouth and who knows.
But she talked about these people writing papers with a major part of the paper is acknowledging the privilege they have as they
Gross.
discuss
So fucking
this
gross.
experience
So fucking weird.
or whatever it is. Like it's so it's a double sword. Again, I don't understand the students that are just being so manipulated or swayed by them.
Dude, my buddy posted this video yesterday. It's like this woke barber. She's a female barber, and she's like, the first question she asks is, "Can I touch you?" And the people are like, "Yes, of course, you can." I know. I know. It's like what? That's an agreement upon walking in.
Yeah.
You've agreed
If
to
you sit
that.
down in the chair, you say you can touch me.
Yeah.
Before then,
Like, do you expect your masseuse to ask for permission as well? Like, I just don't understand. There's certain things that you've signed the contract to without kind of.
because it's pretty sensual having someone wash your hair if you go for a real.
Oh yeah, I haven't done one of those.
Haircut. That's
yeah.
that's pretty hot, actually. They talked about not condemning anti-Semitism. The time this came out, she did resign.
But she still didn't condemn anti-Semitism.
The dean of Harvard.
She'd rather
She
resign than,
she went out
than
fucking
say
swinging. Yeah,
that we shouldn't say kill
Yeah.
Jews.
yeah. I refuse to say that.
Depends on what context you say kill the Jews.
I mean, come
But
on.
that's where I found out that Harvard.
If you're telling a story that your friend told you where the punchline is kill the Jews, I mean, you got to say
I'm
it.
actually
The same
cool with
way
that.
Matt says the N-word.
Yeah.
Harvard
all the
is
time.
387 years old.
Okay, get back to this. Yeah.
Well, I only know because they're saying Harvard's 387 years. This was the first or second woman of color dean that's getting fired for her opinion or whatever. And I didn't listen to all that, obviously. Just the fact that it's 387 years old, like 4 people ago. That's been running that. Like it was open when Napoleon was doing his stuff.
That's crazy.
It's just this school was there in this part of Boston. I mean, obviously it was much smaller 200 years ago.
I can't find it.
What are you looking up?
So I was trying to find out how many Skype episodes he'd done.
Oh, okay.
She said Matt Walsh is amazing.
Yeah.
And Matt Walsh is the person who couldn't get around gays
Getting
adopting
married.
and marrying,
Yeah.
I think it was. I did like him in his work in
I didn't
What-
mind
what
his.
is a
I didn't
woman?
mind his work.
she said he was amazing.
You just
He was
lose me
all right.
at. I don't think gay people should get married or have kids. I don't know.
Then
Yeah, and then it makes me question your whole view on like that's why you hate trans people so much because that it says so in the Bible. Like I thought we were having rational discussions.
Yeah, that's
here.
exactly. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
well, that's where phobias come from. Irrational.
Go on.
then
Go tell us more.
She brought up the Tesla robot,
What are you doing?
and I think that's the first time Joe had pause.
Yes, she brought up the Tesla robot. Yeah, and Joe just sat there.
Well, this is what led into that whole. I see where you were going now.
Okay.
Because that is, well, Joe just doesn't, he refuses to.
No, but even that, I was like, they're making robots?
Oh, yeah.
It's so weird. It's like Joe has invisible Tesla blinders that go up when anti-Tesla stuff comes up. Like it's like, "Yeet." Joe can't hear it. He's just like,
He watched that movie. It was like, remember when all those Fords ran into each other at the end?
I think it's fair to say, though, that anybody would have some sort of bias to someone who they thought was a friend. It's not unrealistic.
I know, but if you're going to like have the conversations where you're clearly talking about Tesla, you have to say the name. You can't just be
"Stop.
like,
Why does he need him as a friend?
yeah, he does.
No,
What are we
but
doing
who-
here?
Who am I to say who needs who as a friend?
No, and are they really friends? Like, come on. What,
I guess
what does a
someone's your-
friend mean to you?
Your friend
you
is your
know?
friend till they fuck you over.
I have like 3 friends, and that's pushing it.
No, but I'm saying like a friend is more than you like every 7 months you do a podcast together. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Oh,
it
no.
is.
They text every 2 nights you up.
There is no fucking way those guys text.
Alien
I
emoji,
don't-
alien
I don't,
emoji,
I
alien
don't
emoji.
buy that at all. That's funny.
Yeah, but I mean, Joe does every morning text illegal photos
Yeah.
to Tom Segura and
Yeah.
vice
Well,
versa.
they are friends.
They're smut peddlers.
That's friend behavior.
yeah.
Then she showed the sex robots for $8,000. Did you watch the Real Doll X or bought whatever the trailer that they watched?
Did anybody watch the newest season of Dave?
No.
Well, it's out on Disney now, and he buys this sex doll that is like
Perfect.
so fucking real. You know what I
That you were
mean?
jealous of him?
No, I wasn't. This fucking guy. Anyways, it just reminded me of this.
I will watch it though
Because Joe couldn't understand that they were not talking about the. He's like, yeah, it's got a fake body, but the head worked. No, it was just a sex doll. When they talk about articulation, that means you can like move the neck back and forth. You can position the arms.
which this one is the one that they watched that clip.
No, I know, but they're not actual robots. That doll is not like grabbing your dick and sucking it. You know what I'm saying?
Not yet.
I think these ones are.
No, they are not. man.
Oh, no, he's done the research.
I'm up on
I
the
know.
literature.
But that video.
So, Kamar, what if they could put ChatGPT in this sex doll? So, like, while you're fucking it, you could be prompting, like,
It could write literature for you.
Yeah.
while
now
you
that
fucked
is
it.
done.
that is done.
As you articulate an idea out loud,
It's
now
true.
will
It's already, yeah.
happen at some point. Well, those sex robots, the video they showed was from 3 years ago.
And what were these sex robots doing?
They were
Sex,
just
Simon.
talking and saying, "I can fuck you," and they have vaginas and mouths.
Yeah, but they were just so they were. recording. They were playing a recording,
I'm not sure.
and they
she said
were
they're AI.
a sex doll.
Yeah.
There's no.
It only interaction.
They're not robotic. They're not
when
fucking
you
operating
touch
on
the
their
robot's
own.
vagina, it goes, oh, that feels so good.
Okay, that is a sex doll.
Yeah.
That is not a cyborg. It's not a fucking
No, but it's
android.
very close. It's closer to a sex robot than it is a
The only thing
pussy.
it's missing is everything that makes it what you want it to be. Because right now it's just a sex doll.
Wait, what do you want it to be? If you're buying a sex doll, what do you want it to? If I buy a sex doll, I'm buying it to fuck
The
it.
end goal of when they talk about like
Are you talking about what Joe thinks is going to happen, like her, but in a sex
what
doll?
everybody hopes will happen.
Who's
is that
everybody? How bad do you want this sex doll?
Humanity, that's where they're driving this thing. The end goal is not to make the best inanimate sex doll ever.
Okay.
It's to make a passable human proto whatever, you know? That's what they're looking to do. And that thing will service you on its own.
Sounds like Robert California.
I had a surreal.
Oh, look how much he hates it when we laugh, eh? Have you ever seen his face when we find something amusing and it derails from his note giving?
It wasn't in my notes.
I didn't pause.
Robert California.
I didn't pause. Where's the laughter break here?
I never realized.
Because that's how he does it for himself. Eh? He's like, insert joke
Yeah,
here.
They will pause.
Wait
We will
as they
pause as they
laugh.
laugh. I will laugh louder.
I will get up and bow. I will take 5 minutes.
I never realized till this moment how much I hate it when you guys laugh.
Agreed.
She said something weird. She said, I can't tell you what my project is. I want to hear from your audience.
Yeah, I hate when, first of all, I hate when people do that.
does that mean
Don't
she's
tell
gonna-
us you have a secret project on the go
Yeah.
if you're not going to tell us what the secret project
But also,
is.
does that mean she's going to do this episode and then go through his comments? And then, is that what she's...
I guess. I don't even understand.
she's hoping people
She's
tweet
just
her or
a
something?
fucking idiot.
Oh, wow. That's harsh. She's hot, though.
Kamar, did you message her?
No.
Why?
I'm going to give it a couple days. You don't want to sound too thirsty.
Oh, I would hit her up. Be like, I'm
3
Ottawa's,
days
I'm
after
Ottawa's
the
hottest
podcast came
comedian.
out? Come on.
3 days.
I'm Ottawa's most eligible bachelor.
Yeah.
Social
For sure. What a
media is grooming us towards acceptance of AI. And I had a surreal realization of that when I thought...
When I was asking ChatGPT.
Well, yeah. I thought I was figuring out how to use ChatGPT.
But it's figuring out how to use you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
to propagate
it's
more.
You are
teaching
the
me-
product.
It's teaching me how to use it to get my joy or my happiness. Like
that's very smart.
But I think I'm in control. But it is in control for sure.
And that just goes to, was it last week when we were talking about that idea, like you were saying before, of human beings have evolved to make AI. It needed us to make it. There's no shortcut. It needed full human evolution to get to this point.
And
now.
it now knows it needs sex robots to speed up
That's right,
self-extinction. So it's going to step the...
Dude.
Well, no,
Listen,
there's
hold on. Wait.
there's-
Hold on. We remember last week I was like, what if AI has been alive on the internet for a while? And what if it's buying up all the real estate and it's siphoning off money from what if it right now is the richest person on earth? And then that goes to so what if it has built a warehouse somewhere and is just building tons of perfect AI sex robots, and one day soon everyone is just a sex robot's going to show up at your door, but it's free. We love free shit and we love fucking, and everyone's just going to be like, "What's?"
Matt, what do you think Amazon warehouses actually are?
That's it. They're just
They're
selling
just
They're just selling
mass-
fucking yeah.
No, but that's exactly it. What would be the best way to convince us that AI is for us? Like it's
Suck our dicks.
it's sex. That is the best way to, like you said, convince a guy of anything, first of all. So you get 50% of the population right away. And listen, you make a couple of these with the male version. I'm sure you'll get maybe not all the women, but half of the women.
You look beautiful today,
It won't talk like that, man. It'll have perfect
Fabio. It's true.
It's diabolical, but it's like, hey,
ex machina. That's
true, you're
I
right.
want to get rid of them, but I don't want them to suffer through it. So I'm going to make this as easy as possible.
Yeah.
And
Everyone gets a
it's
fuck
gonna be
doll.
all right.
No, but why does it even have to be killed? We must be more useful
No,
to them.
extinction, just
than-
phased out.
Just hold on a sec here. Us building the AI, we may then become the slaves for the AI. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we already are.
It won't need slaves.
It won't need slaves.
Yeah, someone's got to mine the cobalt.
Really.
They'll just make a machine to do it.
Well, maybe.
Or it won't. I think it will coincide with molecular manipulation where just anything can be made. You can make a glass of water. So you don't have to go somewhere to get anything.
Well, that's how you do. That's the only way to make a glass of water is through one of those Star
You have to
Trek,
fuck your sex robot to get some water. It comes out
my
the
God,
mouth. You're
That's
like,
hilarious.
So Joe thinks we're the last. And I don't know what that, like, say someone born today.
If you can make your sex robot come, then
think what Joe's
you
saying-
win water.
what Joe's saying is there won't be 3 people after us.
Yeah. Someone born today is probably, we're all the last of what we knew the world to be.
But you know what? I guarantee you, I fucking guarantee you, if podcasts had existed in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, pick a decade, there'd be someone saying exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, but they had no way to get there, and now
the
we
technology
have a way,
wasn't as apparent.
Now we have a way to get there.
Listen,
We've
like-
cloned sheep.
I
We
watched Running
fucking,
Man.
You know,
I watched Running Man.
yeah.
And that's supposed to be the future, but no one got the phones.
that's the game show.
People are still watching TV in the future, but it was a game show where people died.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kamar, I always talk about how in Back to the Future too, when he fires Marty, it's the fax machine on the wall. Like they couldn't get around that we would get something better than the fax machine.
Predestination.
Oh my God!
Perfect.
Did you watch
That's
it?
Perfect.
What's predestination?
He
I
begged
begged
you to watch it.
the movie, the Ethan Hawke movie, so we could talk about
No,
it.
you didn't.
Right
When
now.
did you beg me?
Last week.
We have it on tape.
yeah,
Roll the tape.
roll the fucking
Okay,
tape.
I'm sorry.
Ingrid, could you bring that up?
What a crazy fucking movie, right?
Well, just the thought of time travel is crazy.
So how do you even describe that?
Well, okay, put a pin in that. Since
Yeah.
he didn't, we
Yeah,
can't chew this up.
it's-
We will
ugh,
talk about it in the
so
post show,
crazy.
and there will be plot spoilers, so don't listen. We talked about the AI family member, and there are enough people that would be something of comfort, and they will. It's some people say, "Oh, that's disgusting. I'm not going to download 90% data about this person who I love with their voice that I can talk to." But people will. Not everyone will find that alien.
Yeah, I just don't think we should.
We should. But should we take pictures of people?
That's different. I think there's
way different.
I think there's a big difference between like living in a lie, basically, where you're like, no, I talked to my mom today. She said everything's going to be great, versus like, oh, I was having a bad day today, and I looked at a photo of my mom where we were at the zoo, and it,
And I just don't know if I like. There's something about humans that free will that you have that a machine will never be able to replicate. You know.
I think the comfort will be overwhelmingly addictive.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right, Kamar. For some people, that will be enough.
I mean, the truth is we're old, so it doesn't. None of this. We don't even have the eyes to look at it through the lens of like your son, for example. You know what I mean? Like people that grew up with the internet, like people that, I don't know.
Are you not so happy your kids were old enough, like before? Not if your kids were 12 and 11 right now,
I mean, my son grew up with the internet. That was
and
already
bullying
a
on
thing.
social media and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
So it sucked.
Less for my daughter, I think, but for sure, my son.
You know what I hate about social media now that I realize, besides just the whole thing, is seeing accounts I don't follow.
Yeah,
Send me fucking ads or whatever you want, but don't just put something that I don't. There's no reason. Maybe if someone I follow retweets it, I understand that. But I get so much stuff that I'm like, I click on it. I'm like, when did I follow this? I don't follow it.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I guess the only thing is just to get off it all. But I really don't like it at all.
How did this kitty porn get on? I don't follow
100%
this.
was that leads into my next question. Is it better now or 15 years ago for pedophiles?
Well, sorry, why?
Their access, what they can do. I mean, it used to be you need a van and a park. And then
Bitty.
it started with online
yeah,
chat.
this is a weird joke. This is a weird. I don't love it. I don't love where you're going with this.
No, they talked about it.
Oh, did they? Whether it
Yes.
was easier for pedophiles now or then?
And then our YouTube and these companies actually monitoring it all, like some of the stuff, all the killings and stuff. There's lots of stuff you think I would have no problem if someone said this
Doesn't belong on
this
the
breaks
internet.
terms and conditions or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of horrible stuff that they do that they just out of human decency, but it's an optics thing. They want stuff getting through like it's the Wild Wild West. I'm sure of it. The average Instagram follower is 18 to 27. That's how you know you're sort of an old dog.
Jesus
Well, I don't
Christ.
use Instagram.
Good for you.
You're lying to my face.
No, I don't use Instagram. I don't even have it as an app on my phone.
It's obviously too late now, genie out of the bottle, but there been some sort of, I never like to say this word and it gets everyone hard, regulation on like you can't be on social media till you're 18. Like, is that cruel and unusual punishment or just like an adult stepped in and said no, like this is...
What do you think about everybody knowing your name on the internet?
I think in the beginning that was a
can't
weird
be
thing and
it
it's
can't
already...
be anonymous. And then wouldn't that stop so much of the
I think the day before
shit
Facebook,
posting?
that was something. And then the day of Facebook was like, oh, this is kind of weird. And now it's just, people don't care.
Did that even answer my question? Because
What do you think of your name being on the internet? And I think it went from something to nothing.
okay. Do you,
Simon,
do you
I-
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
you
don't-
can't make anonymous complaints. If you're going to leave a review, everybody's going to know you left that review. Like whatever it is, there's just no anonymity. You can say whatever you want. Free speech still exists, but you're now accountable
Oh,
for that speech.
that's the regulation. No, that's the rule of whatever it is.
I don't know. I got no problem with
It
shit
seems
posting.
1984, but it already is 1984. So
No, but why is that 1984? That's just like, you want to sign up for whatever social media. You have to give your real,
Well, Facebook, that's how it works.
just for Facebook, though.
well, that's Instagram too, isn't it?
No, Instagram, you can just sign up.
You can have a fake account.
Well,
can have
so
more
you
than
can
one
have a
account.
fake account for Facebook too, can't you?
Well, it's not as easy. Like Facebook a while ago,
You need a couple passwords. You'll need a couple. You can't use any of the.
No, I just Facebook for like a couple years ago, they were like, I remember a bunch of people had to like doctor driver's licenses to keep their name on Facebook because they were like, I don't want to.
Well, no, I mean, again, I just, what's the downside to that?
Well, I don't know. Like, first of all, getting rid of complete anonymity, whatever, on the internet. What about whistleblowers? I guess first that would be it.
What about whistleblowers?
Well, a lot of them use the internet to blow the whistle. And now you want it like Jimbo from Kentucky was the one who blew the whistle on them.
That feels like
And like your issue is what? You don't like shit posting?
just everything in general. Why is this place where you can go incognito? Why is it not like I don't even know what to compare it to.
Well, I mean, first of all, you don't have to go to there's nothing telling you have to be on social media. You can choose to avoid.
No, sure, but more that
But what I'm
aids
saying is
my argument.
No, because what I'm saying is actually better. Instead of adding this insane regulation where like you have to sign up, we need to know where you live and your exact name and who you are if you want to be on here. Instead, it's just you can use the internet. You just should avoid the places that maybe you don't like.
Well, it would get rid of all the bots and shit too, right? You would have real live people. It would just be a better way to. You wouldn't have so much hate because people talk differently when they know who they are, you know?
I don't think it matters. Like if you're talking shit to someone in Atlanta, I don't think they give a fuck. Like they're never going to see you.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I'm with you. Let's get rid of bots if we can, but I just don't think that making everyone sign up using their.
Listen, if you give me if there's like a good reason not to, you know what I mean?
Well, I wouldn't want
The
every big
whistleblower-
tech company on earth to have all of our information.
They have it anyways, pal.
But now you're making it where we have to give it up to them.
I mean, you're giving it up to them anyways. Like the second you're on there and it's attached to your phone, you're giving
So,
it
but
up to
then,
them.
so then you just, I'm lost on your, like, you have to get rid of, and I don't see how that makes the internet any better or worse.
Well, you'll know who everybody is.
Okay.
I think that's probably better. It'll be more like real life. Let's put it that way.
Okay. We're terrible to each other in real life.
Okay, so, but we're way worse to each other on the internet.
That's what I seen with the bandits when they were talking about bandits, and like back then people were horrible to other people, and now it's just
Well, when you
That's
watch
out there.
There's
the
still
Western
bandits now.
exactly.
when you watch the Western movies, people are pretty horrible to
Yeah.
each other.
And we think we're better than them.
Okay, weird segue, but yes,
But
agreed.
what I was trying
Kamar,
to
I know I'm better than them.
articulate before is you would think you'd have more in common with that person than someone from 100 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, we're assuming that maybe things just get like better, or maybe we don't climb into the future so quickly as everybody thinks, you know? Maybe there is like
I disagree with that because of just the way technology is exponential.
But didn't Kurzweiler, is that the guy who said like it would peak and then stop?
I still think there's like 25 years on his timeline to the singularity.
no, they bumped it up.
Isn't that called like
He bumped it up.
end of the
Not
world,
called,
the
like,
Y2K?
it's actually 2050.
I think it's like 20,
We forgot to carry the three.
Sorry, sorry, my bad.
2025 is the new one or something.
Well, that's next year.
2025 is the singularity. They bumped it up.
Yeah.
They
Hold on.
We got
I'll tell
some
you.
new-
I'll
You
tell
guys had us on the
Some new
clock.
data.
We're moving it forward.
Well,
Okay.
the way I believe in exponential growth, that wouldn't surprise me. Of course, it'd be half the time that you actually thought it would take. I don't know if it's because of listening to this podcast, but my YouTube got filled with a breakdown of what the next 20 years are going to look like, and there are no humans
in any of it. Yeah.
no matter which one it ends. Or it's complete leisure. They had huge, you can imagine, wheels in space, like giant wheels. So they're rotating to create some sort of gravity with.
Centrifugal force.
What is he talking about? What are you talking about?
You should watch this one, Jun Yi. It's Korean about
It's Korean.
AI. It takes place in the future, but in Korea. It's really interesting.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yes, it's actually really good. The tough part is it's a little worse, when you put the English voices on them, but it's a little annoying with the subtitles because it's a lot of
Visual.
sci-fi and AI and stuff. I mean CGI or whatever they do. It's really good actually. She's single to protect herself because people in public eye say stuff. So that's why I probably want to work out with me and her.
You never know, buddy.
Because she
celebrity.
wants to be single.
Well, no, she doesn't want her partner to be under the scrutiny she is because she's talking about transgender.
Right.
I had
But you would relish that scrutiny.
I had to add on to my joke about we didn't have transgender. We only had Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Mixed bathrooms. We let that guy piss anywhere.
Kamar, there's a camera there recording you, right? That you have your back to.
The attempt to cancel Joe made him grow, which is a weird thing because we remember. I always will remember the moment. It was with what was his name? It was one particular guy with the
Specific guy.
he talked about the Maxines and the BMRRA.
Whoa, dude. He just had the craziest seizure.
No, his name was Bobbert Malone. And
try not to get us kicked off.
after that episode came out, the first was someone put out a 3-minute thing of him saying the N-word, where, by the way, The Rock disowned him.
Yeah.
And totally canceled him out. Anyway,
Again, something they didn't mention on the episode.
when they squashed all the beef over some Turnadol, I wish I knew the name of a fucking steroid.
steroid.
to
Turnadol.
tell that line.
I mean, I understood.
They broke bread with some HGH. Sienna knew he was taking horse medication, but did not know how big he is. I don't believe this.
What?
He said Sienna knew when they're talking about hydroxymoron,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
self-censorship, that they knew he wasn't taking horse medication, but they did. They knew it was a medicine. They just
They knew they were fucking with him.
But he said, but they didn't know how big my show was.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that. All these people have got to be like rating whores. It would know anything.
Yeah, I
Well, I
refuse to
didn't
believe that
realize-
no one at CNN was
I
like,
mean-
do you know that Joe Rogan gets millions
We should
of
try to take this
downloads?
guy down because no one listens to him. It's far-fetched for me to believe.
I mean, anything's possible. There's a bunch of
Anything's
fucking
possible,
morons
yeah.
over there.
I
Who
mean,
knows?
they're a bunch of Charlemagnes. Did you guys go back and listen to Neil Young on Howard Stern?
No.
It sounds crazy because Howard Stern's like, you were just so brave, you know, you're the one out there. He goes, yeah, well, and they wouldn't say his name.
Who, Rogan?
They wouldn't say Joe or Rogan. And they said, some guy is spouting misinformation. And I said, I don't care how much we make. Take it down. I said, see, you're still like punk rock, you know? You told Crosby, Stills, and Nash to go fuck themselves. It's
And
so
he
brave.
took it down because he was in a deal with like a financial thing. Was that?
Sorry. Neil Young took his
He took his music
library
off of Spotify because Spotify was paying Joe Rogan.
Joe or me.
Yeah, but I think I heard that it turns out that like his catalog is owned by a company and he had to take it down and he just used Joe Rogan as like a convenient.
Well, that's even worse.
Even worse.
That's
yeah,
even
yeah.
worse.
No, but just as like Howard Stern is giving him those accolades, he like totally. Again, I'm not positive of this. I just
Oh, you sound like Joe Rogan.
in the back of my head, I
Ingrid,
feel like
look that up.
I heard something about that.
I would love to see a timeline of say, hey, Hillary had won.
Hey,
Where-
Hillary.
Well, if she had one, we'd be at
I have one
we'd
for
be
you.
we'd be at the end of her second term. But
Well, we'd know about a lot more about aliens. That's for sure.
okay,
100%.
who knows? I mean, it could go many ways. But
Why do you have a Zin patch just sitting on your leg?
fourth wall.
Well, I'm just worried it's going to drop off your leg. You're going to forget about it, and then the dog's going to be fucking.
Wow, okay, let the discrimination
Oh,
begin.
go fuck yourself.
Or a universe where Trump just says, you know what, I just want to be a rich billionaire. He was an egomaniac, and what would CNN do all of a sudden?
What have they been doing the last 4 years?
They'd probably go to his house and say, you can't do this. Donald, we've come this far. People need to know the story play out because it feels like.
Well, what did they do before Donald Trump? They had ratings and shit.
Can-
They were
can you
doing well.
remember-
What were they
well,
talking
you guys don't
about?
watch it anyways, but yeah, that's an
No, they did
interesting
the
question.
war. They did the war in Afghanistan for like 12
for
years.
12 years.
Before
yeah.
Donald Trump, they defended Barack Obama against Fox News attacks. I believe that's what their MO in politics was.
Those Fox News attacks.
These ridiculous guys are saying this about our boy Obama. I believe that's what it was.
And before that,
ISIS. ISIS was a
the
big
war
thing.
on terror. That was another big one.
Yeah.
We're still on Deborah.
Yeah.
This has been another
Deborah's
hour.
so
We've given her an
long.
hour.
Let's go.
You have way more.
It's possible that someone died from taking the COVID vaccine that would not have died had they not taken it, and they would have not died of COVID. That's possible.
Okay.
For the record, Joe
What's
was
your point?
I want to say this though. Joe was like a friend of mine, perfectly healthy, 40-year-old. All of a sudden needed a pacemaker, and he just couldn't wrap his head around that. I have a friend, 3 years before COVID, 40 years old, like on the nose, fell over one day walking the dogs, went to the doctor,
Yeah.
has a pacemaker. Had nothing to do with COVID. I understand that, like, I get that if you got the vaccine and then you got sick, it's fucking fishy as fuck. I would feel that way too. I don't believe this fucking vaccine was anything. But I also have a tough time believing that it killed like millions of people.
Well, what's
No,
that
I'm saying one person.
What's that stat about Canada though? Isn't there like a massive
2%
increase in?
No. It was that our life expectancy dropped.
Oh yeah, so that's got to mean something, no?
Who knows? I mean, again, you
Well,
can
what
drop.
do you equate that to then?
I don't
If
know.
It's not.
Well, I mean, first of all, we were locked down. So let's say there was a ton of suicides or overdoses is a fucking great one. We have more overdoses in the last 2 years than we probably had in the decade before it.
I think it's 1 a day or something, or 2 a day.
So this is what I'm saying. If you just do like it's easy to say that stat and go, oh, the vaccine and COVID. I get it. I'm not saying it can't be that. What I'm saying though is I bet if you took a deeper dive into the numbers, you'd find out that we have a crisis on our hands that they're also not talking about.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do you have more faith in experts today than you did 5 years ago?
No, way less. I
Does
don't
the
believe
term
it.
expert mean nothing now?
No, I think that you have the same amount of faith because they were terrible back then. Think about the sugar. Think about like all we've been told is lies our whole lives.
Fine,
we just
I was-
didn't know they were lies
All right.
until now.
Yeah.
I was
There's a
blissfully
different
ignorant.
context
I
of
was blissfully
expert.
ignorant
Well,
5
we were
years
all
ago.
blissfully ignorant.
Whereas now I'm not. Now I'm just
Yeah.
angry.
Were we all?
Yeah.
Yep. And that's she's a hot
Deborah so long.
hot doctor who's
Ba-dum,
against.
boom.
She's a right wing shill. You know,
I give it a 2.
I give it 2.
I give it a 1.35.
There you go. Let's move on. Golden Boy.
I have
Golden
2081
Pony.
Tony Hinchcliffe. This was the worst podcast ever. I thought to myself, I've heard this complete podcast. These two guys have this conversation, all these topics,
Yeah.
not one new thing.
No.
I don't even think there was a cool humble brag in this, but it was just,
So good. You don't have a lot of notes for this then.
it was
That's
definitely
perfect.
put up while he's in Bahamas.
Yeah.
This is just done. You're down the street.
Yeah,
just
let's
do
put this one in the bag.
I need something to
Yeah.
put up. I don't even know if I took notes. I was so disgusted about
Well,
it.
you haven't done the movie game yet.
I didn't.
You didn't do the movie game?
This is where I said the story about a story is a lows from a story.
He was going to do Mystic River, but he had the wrong movie, so it all went out the window.
The clip of Chappelle talking about Prince is Maddie's Matrix moment.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just wrote that down.
Chappelle told the story about how Prince put him on the album cover.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you talk about
We
that?
were
or
talking about that last
something?
week.
Mate, I don't know.
Speaking of Chappelle, did anybody see his? You want to talk about that in the post, Joe?
Post Joe. So they talked about the Chappelle show, the greatest sketch show ever.
That I think you have to agree with that. I mean, I guess you don't have to. Maybe you have a
What's
favorite.
another sketch show?
And then now
Kids in the Hall.
This is a list I wrote
SCTV.
down.
Oh, this is a list. you wrote down.
SNL,
Yeah, SNL. Yeah.
SCTV,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mad TV,
Yeah.
In Living Color,
Yeah.
yeah.
Key and Peele,
Yeah.
Mr. Show, and I didn't. Kids in the Hall would be another one.
Kids in the
Kids
Hall.
in the Hall is definitely another
Four
one.
on
Come
the floor.
I didn't even think about Canadian stuff.
There has to be. I feel like there's 2 big ones we're missing.
Royal
here.
Canadian Air Farce.
This hour has 22
That's
minutes.
popular with curlers.
Uh,
You know which sort of is one? That Australian guy who did this. It's a show about. I guess it's not. That's more like The Office and stuff, but Sunnyvale or whatever it is.
yeah, he's hilarious.
The
that
ringer.
guy.
She's a ringer.
Jessamy or
Yeah, that's a show though. I don't
Yeah,
consider that sketch
that's not
comedy.
sketch
Oh,
comedy.
Little Britain.
Little Britain.
Monty Python.
So Chappelle's the best. Yeah, Chappelle's show was the
Yeah.
best.
And SNL is just a weird entity. It was.
I mean, SNL
gospel.
is good.
SCTV
Not
is
now,
better.
but it's had runs of time where it's been good.
I think the thing is Chappelle did 2 seasons, and a half if you want to include that. And it was like all great. SNL has been on for 50 years and it has stunk for many periods of that. I think we can agree on
Well,
that.
I mean, again, yeah, sure, but if Chappelle did 32 seasons, would they all be bangers? I don't know. Who knows?
I feel like they would, unfortunately. I feel like they really would.
all right.
Although I didn't love the special, the new one.
Yeah,
I know
I didn't love it either. It almost seems like he's not doing comedy for us anymore. He's only doing it for himself.
Yeah.
Well, that's ultimately what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's what I'm pursuing as an artist.
Yeah, well, that's why you're terrible.
That's what I'm pursuing as an artist.
He said Damon Wayans made too much money to walk away from. So he walked away from comedy.
Okay. Well,
It's
he
only
started
worth
doing some pretty,
35 million.
He started doing some like big movies at that time. You know, he was in that movie with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I wish
He
I knew
was,
what Cat Williams' take was. Oh, we'll save that for the post, Joe.
What movie was that with Bruce Willis? Do you remember
Last
that?
Boy Scouts.
The Last Boy Scout. Yeah.
Is it weird that
Hey,
tires?
are you gonna pick a fuck? We're like, I'm setting
have
you
se-
up.
Have you guys
here.
seen that? Have you guys seen The Last Boy Scout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis was in that.
It's the JREE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack their brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JREE movie game. Kamar, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing The Last Boy Scout because Damon Wayans in it, and they talked about him, and we talked about why he stopped doing stand-up because he was really funny. Directed by Tony Scott. Starring Bruce Willis, Damon Wayans, Chelsea Field Noble, Willingham Taylor Negron, could have fucked that up, and Daniel Harris. If I remember, it's about a pro athlete and a detective that team up to stop some crooked politicians.
Simon, I'm gonna assume. Jesus, I'm gonna assume you're ready to go, seeing as you.
The film follows a washed-up private investigator
I'm all ready.
who teams up with a scandalized football star
you
to
got
uncover
it.
a political
You-
conspiracy involving their former employees.
You got it right on the fucking nose, Kamar.
Thank you.
All right, Simon, you want to give me the year?
I said
Yeah.
1992.
Yeah. Well, I said 91.
The year is 1991.
Oh,
We're in play.
in the
We're in
game.
play. Simon,
the
close
game.
up the
Son
book.
of a
I'm
bitch.
in the fucking game.
In
All right,
the
Simon,
game.
tell me the
Wow.
rest.
I said it cost 15 million to make, and it grossed 67 million.
Well, if he wins, I win because I said it cost 15.8 to make, and it made 58.7.
I don't think you guys remember this movie. There was a lot of explosions. The budget was 43 million.
You know what? As
Whoa.
soon as you said directed by Tony Scott, I was like,
It was big.
I was
This
like,
is a
I've
big
really.
cars crashed.
How much
and
again?
shit. 43 million. Plus, you got Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans.
And
box office 114.
oh, we're just so far off.
This was a big movie.
You weren't even close on nothing but the year.
This is one of the
Well, neither were you, shithead.
buddy comedy,
Team-ups?
cop stuff ever. You know which one of the worst is? And I took exception because I watched this guy on YouTube who will be like, the 20 interesting movies that are coming out on Prime or whatever. And he lauded Money Train with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. And it is the biggest.
Yeah, it's
piece of shit
What's
movie. They spent like $40 million just to have a train and what it's
What's your favorite
God.
buddy cop movie ever?
Lethal Weapon.
That's a good one.
Or what about Die
48
Hard
Hours?
3?
Another 48
All Die
hours.
Hard. He has a buddy along
Yeah,
all of
that's
them.
with Samuel.
Oh, Die Hard
L.
with a Vengeance. Yeah, for sure.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Rush Hour. No,
The
that's
other
not-
guys.
Wow.
That's a
Cat ain't
great
got nothing.
movie.
The other guys is
That is
incredible.
amazing. Russell Crowe and
No. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Russell
and
Crowe
Ryan
and-
Gosling. Yeah.
I wonder if
the
that-
Nice Guys is good too. That's
Yeah,
Adam McKay. It's all Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. And I wonder if Joe's blind to those because he never brings it up because those are good comedies.
yeah.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Chasing waterfalls.
He
was
So
that
funny,
just a
yeah.
choice as an actor?
My
Now you're definitely saying TLC songs.
That's the movie game.
Tango and Cash. That's but I guess they were kind of criminals who were
Was
put
that
together.
Stallone and
And
Kurt
Kurt
Russell?
Russell,
That's
yeah.
disgusting.
One of my favorite movies
That's
growing up.
disgusting.
They build the Batmobile before the
Oh,
Batmobile.
Point Break.
Oh, that's a great one. But
That's
that's
a-
not really a
wow.
buddy cop movie.
Well, one guy is
Utah.
They're two
he's
cops.
an undercover. He's undercover.
Utah.
and
Give me two.
He's not two cops.
and
Who are
because
the
he's eating that sandwich, the whole thing
Patrick
happens.
Swayze isn't a cop. He's a crook.
It means Gary Busey.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
Point Break is incredible.
48 hours.
I said
Yes,
48 hours.
yes,
That was
yes.
the first one I said. Then I said another 48 hours.
And that's
That's-
Busey
that's
again.
amazing, yeah.
Busey's the common
No, it was Nick
denominator.
Nolte.
Oh, you're right.
Nick Nolte,
Nick Nolte and
and
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie
I'm
Murphy.
retarded. Did
And
you watch
then,
Stakeout? The first Stakeout was really good with Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss.
Sorry, say his name again.
Emilio and Richard Dreyfuss. Estevez.
Estevez.
Oh, sorry. Charlie Sheen's brother.
Emilio.
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys, bad. Oh no, Will Smith.
I
He's dead
hated
to
Bad
us.
Boys.
He's dead to us.
Didn't like it when it
Worst
came out. Didn't
movie
like Bad
ever.
Boys 2. Didn't like Bad Boys 3.
Oh,
Hated Bad Boys.
Speaking of,
Hated that movie.
What about Starsky and Hutch?
who was the other guy in Bad Boys?
Martin Lawrence.
He got called out on Cat Williams.
Well, wait
too.
a second.
Whoa, wait, oh.
Tune into the post show. We're going to go deep, and I mean balls deep, into Cat Williams on the Club Shay Shay. Tony says out loud, "I've achieved all my dreams."
Fuck this guy,
Like,
man.
there's no hard.
Fuck this guy.
There's nothing. Well, no, and no, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him, but they have to have the wherewithal that that's what's happening right now. They're just stroking each other.
No, you know that
across the
walled
table.
garden that person mentioned to Joe? Remember they were like, you're kind of building a walled garden? Yeah, I feel like every episode, Joe just puts up a few more bricks. Just build that wall,
And
Joe.
when Tony comes, they like work overtime.
Yeah, yeah.
just
Do you wanna
putting
work
up
overnight
bricks,
to do- yeah.
We'll just put up a whole wall.
Yeah, I think we can get this done tonight.
Yeah.
And they talked about nonsense wrestling moves, and I wish, like the camel clutch, the figure four leg lock, I wish those were legitimate things that people do.
I think the figure four leg lock actually hurts.
Someone did one of them in a UFC, not a UFC, but like a high-end mixed martial arts fight recently, last year.
Like the figure four, you're putting the guy's leg over and then using your other one to put pressure. That's just going to hurt.
What's the one where you sit on their butt and
That's
you
the
grab
camel clutch.
Yeah,
Or you grab their arms?
No, you grab their legs.
You sit on their what?
Okay, so you grab their legs under your arms like this,
Yeah.
and then you pull them
Oh,
back, and
that's
you're
the-
sitting
yeah,
on them.
yeah, yeah,
Someone
that's
did
the,
that in a mixed martial arts
What
fight
is
recently.
what is that called? The scorpion or
I don't know. I was hoping you'd know. Kamar, I just want
the
to say,
Iron Maiden?
I just
That's
want to
what
say
it's
for the
called.
record, Kamar, every game, and I mean every game,
Has beat the
is
spread.
going over.
Yep.
Like every game.
Yeah, Kamar stinks.
Just saved it.
Talk
Just
about
saved it
getting
after.
lucky.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, anyway.
You stink.
They talked about the volcano and the journalists that reported on Petraeus.
Which we just talked about last week.
Well, he talks about every week, but
they don't.
We always wonder why journalism is so bad, and maybe it's because of that accident. Like that is this. You know how every engineering student at McGill has a ring from a bridge that collapsed.
Do they really?
Yeah, there's a bridge in Quebec collapsed. Maybe it was even Montreal.
Hey, that's terrible. Go on.
And they took all the metal, and when you graduate engineering, as a reminder of you know, to do your math right,
Interesting.
they get a ring. That's interesting. Maybe every reporter has the story of this guy's Mercedes crashing the thing after he did a story.
They
telling
all
the
have a
truth or
piece of
whatever
his
they did.
Benz as they get out of journalism
They
school.
Article
made
of clothing.
flip flops
Yeah.
out of his tires
Yeah.
or something.
Everyone gets a piece of Jamal Khashoggi's head.
They painted.
Weird.
They painted a picture of Ron White being the super liberal guy, who's all like, "Really? You think they're doing that?" He keeps coming around, which I think is funny.
Well, they didn't say Ron though. They were just
They
like
did, but
they were
then
like
they-
some
they-
Texan we
they-
know
they
well.
said
Yeah, I
his
was like, come
accent.
on, dude.
Yeah, so I out of him. She said bond blight. Canada's life expectancy has gone down. That is confirmed. At one point, Joe suggested changing America into Canada. I don't think he realized he was doing it. Forget what it's about. Tony loves Kanye. And
Okay, yeah. So listen, this is what I have a problem with, okay?
Okay.
Joe finally came around at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what? He was talking about that Harvard professor. He was saying it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Kanye was saying some pretty bad shit.
Okay.
So why does he get the pass, but this lady doesn't? Joe said we should have him on my podcast to release his new album. Like,
Yeah.
that's just weird, man. It's weird.
Joe really likes Kanye. Joe
And you know
Joe
how,
really likes Kanye.
and you know how Tony was like, Kanye does something and then 6 months later it
Yeah.
becomes cool. Well, that really did happen with the Jew hating.
Oh, touche.
Maybe that is right.
Simon. Dropping the bombs.
The time adds up.
That's very interesting.
There is no focus on healthy living, though. Even in the wake of COVID or something like governments, they do so many ads about saving the planet, which use that money. It's just ridiculous. But there is no focus on how to be healthier as a. Would you agree? And there might there used to be participation.
Yeah, I was just going to
Remember,
say
there
that.
was
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Jan and
I
whatever.
didn't
the
think it was
fuck-
cool, but it was promotion of a healthy lifestyle. And
Yeah.
that's gone the way of a dodo bird. And
And that
public
was
money
sponsored-
spent on stupid
The
other
first
And
problems.
that was sponsored by the
interracial couple
government.
I knew.
For sure.
It's true, too.
Of course
yeah.
you did. Of course you did.
Super woke. Be healthy and look at us.
Break the color barrier.
Oh, yeah, they're interracial.
Because they were banging for sure.
Boo!
100%.
Are you kidding me?
They're oh, fuck. If I know the word, their trailers were right beside each other on set. So it was very easy for a rendezvous. Then they talked about jujitsu. Joe thinks people are listening to this podcast live. Do you ever notice that? It's like a million people just.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess when it comes out, it sort of is, but the way he said it, maybe I'm stupid. What's more reassuring, if the pandemic just happened or it was an orchestrated test by the cabal or whatever?
They're both equally shitty.
They're both equally shitty because if it just happened, we saw a response, they totally fucked it up.
I actually think it's worse if it just happened because
Yeah.
because
Talk
if it
about it.
happens again, they've really lost public. Like a lot of the public has lost faith in
I
the
think it's
institutions.
very telling that there's been, with everything else they do, no inquiry.
Yeah.
Like the response forum, like of course I think it was a waste of money, a stupid thing, but let's just forget what happened. Who cares? And we'll see if it happens again if we did learn anything. Corporate trolling, 50% of Reddit is corporate trolls. I mean, that should be surprising.
And that would be eliminated if we all had to put our names down.
But why? You think
No.
corporations couldn't just create
someone,
yeah,
whatever,
Like, I don't
to-
understand how that goes away there.
It's just a little push. It's a little push. Sway the people. Then he talked about the grievance papers, which I'm sure they've talked about.
What are the grievance papers?
You know, the dogs in
Oh,
the
yeah,
parks.
yeah,
like
yeah.
it was just so many things I'm sure they've talked about. When I guess that's what happens when you achieve all your dreams, you just sit around and reminisce. They got into sodomy.
They got into sodomy.
What about sodomy?
Why it was illegal. Well, it is weird.
Why is sodomy illegal?
Because the same reason why communism. If they try it, they're gonna like it.
If you don't stop the butt fucking now, they're
Yeah.
gonna take stronghold in neighboring.
Yeah, we know what
sections
happens,
and-
yeah.
You'll be sitting on a chair soon enough, buddy.
And it's all downhill from there.
Sharks, of course, you're scared of sharks.
Well, next thing you know, it's on your doorstep, Matt.
Of course,
That's
yeah.
Next
Joe,
thing you know, you got fucking dildos pointed at you from Cuba.
Every angle, yeah.
they talked about sharks and then bears and wolves, and then into Joe figure out what it takes to hunt a wolf. Which means, don't you know any of this? It's like, where can you hunt? How do you hunt a wolf? It sounded very odd for someone who's balls deep in hunting. Then the pythons, they have too many pythons here, and you can't have pythons in California. San Francisco is really bad.
You just jumped from pythons to San Francisco.
Yeah. But that was well done. I'll give you that.
He brought up.
Why even bring up the pythons? If you don't want us to talk on it,
No, it's called a segue. He wanted to talk about San Francisco, so he said California won't let you have pythons. San Francisco's fucked. It was actually beautifully done. Like I don't know why he's like Jim Carrey in The
He's
Mask.
so
Like
flowers.
it's fucking incredible.
Jesus.
And
Christ.
once again, to reiterate, these are all things they've talked about. Well, no, we didn't, because Tony just got sent a pair of python boots, as life couldn't get any harder for him.
and the belt buckles. He's like, when you have a massive fan base, you just have a lot of people sending you belt buckles all the time.
I hope these guys all continue to shine and nothing ever brings them down. I swear, I say that wholeheartedly.
You know what's going to bring them down? Zin.
Joe doesn't work that into
Well,
the.
not yet.
Simon,
No,
this
Joe
might-
has an empire. He's too cautious.
I think you should get on the phone with Sam Tripoli.
I
think you got-
didn't invent
I
this.
think
I,
you have
saw a
something.
whole
Simon,
video.
Simon.
I told you.
Simon, look
I-
me in the eyes. Sam will take your call.
Sam will not take my gold.
You saw a video of a guy pointing out all the places that Zin is coming above.
And how he did like all the rules of podcast advertising.
As far as I'm
how they're
concerned,
all breaking them.
That's actually your own research. That's your fact.
I saw it. It makes it mine.
So, and they just talked about San Francisco sucking and all this. And if you watch,
Yeah, but if you watch Andrew Callahan, like what I got to from the bottom of all that was that it's all by design.
100%. Yes, it's all by design.
Oh yes, it was.
But
They're just trying to drive down property prices so that they can move everyone out. And then they'll buy up that high-end real estate and develop it. And it's a tale as old as time. Well, no, that's what, like all the people in that neighborhood, when he went to Philly, they were all like, you go 3 blocks away that way and everything's fucking hunky-dory. It's all
Vancouver.
like beautiful. It's all beautiful condos and development. And then they're like, but you come over here 3 blocks and the cops just let this happen.
well, I would argue or push back that they're not doing that in Vancouver, or it's a really, really slow play, and the property values somehow are still. You know what I mean?
And I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw that shit app, but the shit was everywhere.
It's
it
like-
wasn't
it's like
just
the-
like
it's like the
certain
nuclear- it's like nuclear
areas
bombs.
they were
It's like nuclear
gentrifying.
bombs.
Yeah, it was literally everywhere.
My point is saying all this started the sway of defund the police, George Floyd. That is the big bang moment for
yeah, but you
all
can't,
these things.
You're using his name. You don't blame him. You blame some. You
These-
believe the whole
the-
thing
the
was
whole
set
thing.
up to
Whether or
no,
not
it was used. It was used right away.
forget even that. Just that moment is what sparked. Whatever that was,
Sure.
that moment sparked everything.
A
that
false
came
truth.
after.
Everything is based on a false truth.
Well, that's taking it a whole other direction. I'm just saying that moment.
But yeah, I could
A
not.
false truth is a lie. Just by the way, Kamar, it doesn't matter how you paint
trying
that
to candy
horse.
coat it.
Just
I'm trying to
fucking.
candy-
put lipstick on a
You know
pig
what
over
Sicario
here. Yeah.
could have been? No, I could not. I would never recommend listening to this podcast ever again. If you've listened to Joe Rogan, because it was just it was redundant. If I know what that word means,
It was such a politician move. I could not.
Yeah.
Like,
I could not recommend this podcast.
you could not recommend this
Yeah.
podcast.
I mean, who knows where I might land?
That not was excessive. I could not recommend this podcast. I think I threw my hair.
Those are all the notes you took. I don't
Hands up in
care.
time.
But this is the first time. Like,
No, that's appropriate. It really
Yeah,
was.
it
Like
was-
if you've
it was
ever,
terrible.
The concept of America is to accept immigrants.
I think I could say this: if you've listened to 15 of Joe's episodes in the last 3 years, you got the gist of this episode, right? Pick
Yeah.
any 15.
yeah. I thought it was so interesting as Joe was trying to talk about his club there because they talked about how great the club was again.
I just love how giddy Joe gets too. Like we were working out with The Rock. Like, dude, you're fucking famous. Like this shouldn't.
He hates you. I'm starting to realize more and more that you can actually never meet him because he does know something and he's not happy about it. But he doesn't want to give us any. Who
are you talking about? What did you just say?
Joe, if I were to meet Joe, he'd like punch me in the face or something. No, we ain't cool, man.
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah.
Why are you meeting him?
If I imagine
Because Kamar's now risen to the top of comedy and he's been invited to the mothership, but only
And
on a
why
lark.
does he hate you?
No, Joe has invited him to the mothership so that when Kamar comes up, he walks up to the door and he's like, I'm here to perform. They're like, what's your name? He's like, Kamar Hargadon. And they're like, yeah, sorry, buddy, not on the list. And there's like CCTV footage of it. And Kamar's standing up there. And then he's drunk and he's telling all these Americans his story outside. Joe Rogan told me to come down here and play. And they're all like, we don't give a fuck, dude. Who are you? Who's this fucking Arab?
it's the ultimate troll. Which I should be flattered that he took the time. But I give this a 1. This was just like, and I had nothing against Joe and nothing against Tony.
No, I love them both. Just not a worthwhile time to spend 3 hours.
Well, I can't
3
give
plus
this,
hours.
I can't give this any less than Deborah. So 1.5.
I give it a 1.5. Yeah, I'll match that. All right, gang, that's an episode. First, is it the first of the year? I don't even know.
That's the only reason why I brought the fire.
That's the only reason you brought the fire. You brought the fire today? Yeah, no, I noticed that. I was thinking at the halfway mark. I was like, Kamar's really bringing it.
I was legitimately
It's the
saying,
Zin. It's the Zin, right? What flavor is that?
Mint sucks. Actually, we should go for a drive after, see if we can track some real stuff down.
He wants
I'm
you
not
to chauffeur.
interested in the Zin, you
Sour
fuck.
blueberry.
Can you chauffeur me around to get some Zin? We're just free advertising for these fucking merchants of death.
This is the product placement, and I swear to
Yeah,
God,
you did it.
we don't get shit from these people. Kamar didn't get a free sample.
Big T.
Yeah, I'm vaping.
Is
so
it Big T or Big N?
I guess it's big nicotine now, yeah.
They're
They're not tobacco companies anymore. They're nicotine companies.
Is it the tobacco plant is the only source of nicotine?
That's a good
They
question.
must be able to make it
a great
synthetically like
question.
meth or something.
It is.
That's the only place you can get it, the tobacco. Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
He's not willing to. Either way, that's a show. Thank you so much for listening. Maybe you're willing to go a step further. We have a Patreon if you want to support the show. There's some extra content over there. You got the post show and a bunch of old episodes of some other fun stuff we've done. Head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. That's patreon.com/JREE podcast. And you can sign up for as little as $5 a month. I guess you can sign up for free, but you're not going to get anything for that. I've noticed that. We have a bunch of members. No one's listening to me. They're both on their phones. Whatever. That's a show. Thank you so much for listening. We hope your year so far is treating you well. And we hope you have a great week. Enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
Tobacco leaves are where you get nicotine from. Keep your eyes open.